It is Sabres game night, and it's a big one. They are on the road versus Ottawa, and the Sabres can clinch a playoff spot for the first time in 14 years, very simply, with a win tonight. Sabres do, though, also have another scenario. If they get at least 1 point, they'll need the Flyers and Carolina to both win. But to put it simply, win and they're in. Pregame is at 6 p.m. for a 7 p.m. puck drop. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen expected to get the start tonight. It would be his third in a row, while net for Ottawa, it'll be Linus Ullmark. Noah Ostlund and Sam Carrick are both out tonight, though Lindy Ruff did give a bit of an update on Carrick, calling him week to week, but would not rule him out for the season. Sabres Injury Report, it is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. There are 13 other games tonight in the NHL. Some of the notable ones, the two big ones, are at 7, Carolina hosting Columbus and Detroit at the Flyers. Also at 7, the Lightning host Pittsburgh, the Bruins are in Florida versus the Panthers, and Montreal, they are in New York versus the Rangers. Now to the Diamond. The Mets are on late tonight, 9:45, when they are at the Giants, and then the Miners, Bisons at Omaha just after 7:30, and Rochester, they are home against Scranton today just after 6. And heads up, football fans, as Pittsburgh prepares to welcome the nation to the unofficial beginning of the football season, the celebration will begin the night before with an unforgettable invite-only night of music taking place Wednesday, April 22nd at the Rivers Casino Event Center featuring Jason Aldean, John Morgan, and Shane Profit. Visit Odyssey.com/thenightbefore to enter now for your chance to win this national contest. Prizes do include round-trip airfare, a 2-night hotel stay, and 2 tickets to the show. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for West New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Carrick and Benson operating down the right side to the slot. Power with a shot. Scores! The power is turned on early. From the goal line. Pass in front. Scores! That's how you do it. Doan with the goal.
Buffalo and Montreal have shown that young, energetic team, they're going to be here for a long time.
Potential 2-on-1 down low. Thompson holds it. Scores! Tage Thompson from Milan to New Jersey. Body shots up over top. Swinging. Perry's the dog in the fight, and Malenstein trying to tame him here. They are down to the ice. Malenstein drops Perry.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR.
Yeah, I'm already thrown off. I don't know. The script that I got for today said like 302 to 325 talk about Dalton Kincaid's knee. And so now I'm not sure why Zach just played that open. That probably got everybody really excited and, just pumped all up for tonight's opportunity for the Sabres to clinch a playoff spot for the first time in 14 seasons. I have trouble not following directions. So I don't know. What do you think about Dalton Kincaid's
talking PCLs today? Let's talk PCLs.
Nate, what do you think about Nate Geary and everybody? Mike's got a couple of days off on the Bulldog. I'm just fun and around with you. Just goof. See, ha ha, man. This is pretty cool. I think that over the course of 30 years doing this now, I don't know that I've ever missed something as badly as I missed the first time Mike asked me, which was on the heels of folks with the Sabres asking me for a part of a project they're working on about what it's going to feel like when the drought ends. I kind of just went, I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels like a formality at this point. I mean, they're going to make the play. It's like a week ago Mike brought this up to me. Like, I don't really feel, I don't know. I'm not that dialed in on when it's going to happen. I'm not thinking about the magic number. I just think I've thought since New Year's Eve this team was going to make the playoffs. So I'm not that worried about the moment, right? Which misses the entire point of the moment. The moment is not whether or not you think it's going to happen or not. It's what is it going to feel like when, for the first time in almost 5,500 days of life on planet Earth, you go, hey, when the playoffs start and there's like 4 games and 2 of them are at 7 and 2 of them are at 7:30, your team's going to be one of them again. You're gonna have a dog in the fight, a horse in the race, and I completely missed that. And now today, I am super excited about tonight and the opportunity. It's almost, I think, Nate, a bulletproof go out night because there isn't the tension that will come in a few weeks when it's a playoff game. And I mean, are you ready out there? An elimination game in a play like this is, you got a lot of net here. You got a lot of runway, right? There's enough games left here. There's 7 games left, and they can clinch tonight, which means that the next time they play on Saturday night against Washington, they can clinch then if they don't do it tonight. And then after that, there's still 5 more opportunities. Like, they got a mile to work with here. So there's not, if you do go out tonight to party and celebrate with friends and you want to be with one another when it happens and it doesn't happen, that kind of sucks for your night out, and the bill will feel a little heavier when you go to pay it because, they didn't win. But you didn't really lose anything either. You lost an opportunity to celebrate on a Thursday instead of on a Saturday or a Monday, right? There's just a lot of room here for them. But that doesn't mean it won't feel pretty incredible when they actually win a game that puts them in the playoffs for the first time since 2011.
Yeah, I think we're probably, I don't know, maybe a full month removed from actually feeling like talking about it is not a jinx. Right. I mean, we're probably about 30 days from that. Like, I had a conversation with a buddy of mine who lives, in the Southern Tier. We're talking about, hey, game 1, you come up, you can stay with me. We'll do party in the Platte. They're going to do party in the Platte. And then we're just kind of like right. That conversation, And I think even a couple of years ago when they got close in that Don Granato season and they missed by a point, there wasn't really any moment where you were like, you could enjoy it a little bit. Right. And I think what they're doing now and what they're hopefully going to do tonight is going to give us a little run here of a couple of games where, again, I'm trying also not to be dramatic about this, but I said this to somebody else. It was like, I don't know what the 51-3, Bills-Raiders game, like in the second half of that game where the Bills are going to the Super Bowl and like the party and the celebration that was existing in the stands. I would say, again, not to the extreme, but like a couple of weeks here where we can just be like, we could go to a Sabres game. We could just go stand at the Odd Club for 2 periods and, just stand at the bar and be like, hey, we're here, but like, awesome. There is a game going on, but, we can just kind of celebrate in here. So, yeah, it's been a really fun 30-ish days, I think, for a lot of people my age who the last time they were in the playoffs, I was in college. You were still old. So, I mean, it's fine for you.
I was still old, but this distinction is important, and it's why I should. A bunch of my friends are going to More Room tonight, including Jeremy White from our morning show and our buddy Brett from whatever. Owen's, a bunch of people are going, and you're making the. I'm 60. There's comfort in going home. There's, a controlled environment. There's, I know what I'm going to eat for dinner and all of that, right? As opposed to at 6:45 or 7 o'clock, whatever time I'll get out of here, elbowing my way into a packed North Buffalo bar and, just whatever. But I think I have to do that. I think I have to do that in part because while I wasn't as old as I am now back in especially 05, 06, and 06 and 07, what I'm also not anymore is tethered to my house because I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old living there.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And a wife who's working nights or going to grad school or whatever the hell my wife, God bless her, was doing like throughout all of that time. But I would work at the arena during the 06 playoffs. I would work in the arena with Mike and get out of there. And literally, I was often on a motorcycle at the time, but I get on a motorcycle, get in my truck, in the ramp, and drive the wrong way out of the ramp and out through the traffic
as quickly as humanly
possible, because I had to get home and get settled, get the boys settled, see my wife off to whatever she was going to do, try to watch a playoff game while putting a 2-year-old to bed. I don't have to do that anymore. So like I never really got to ride that ride in 06 and 07 because my life just dictated that I be home all the time. So I watched both of those playoff runs from my living room. I never went to a game, and I never went out for a game. No, I shouldn't say I never went to a game. I went to game 1 of the Islanders series in 07.
I was 15.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
I was 15 years old, 14 years old.
Right. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid who was
Since
4
then,
works here now and has a mustache. So this is a very different world. So I think I need to get out just to enjoy that because I don't have too much of that. Like a lot of my adult life being on the radio was being at home taking care of little kids when the Sabres were good anyway.
Yeah. And I don't really know that I think very much about their last playoff series, to be honest. It's not a memorable – it's not the 05, 06, 06, 07 where – they're contenders. They sort of backed their way into the playoffs.
It was a fever dream.
Yes.
Then back in, they went 24-2 or something.
You just didn't ever feel like
they were a good team.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Even though this year there has been very similar moments or feelings from that last playoff team, this one has a little bit more of they're one of now 4 teams with 100 points. They're one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
They've done it over the course of 3 or 4 months. This isn't, luck and, again, backing their way in, but just there's a real feeling that, yes, the playoffs are here, but I don't think anyone's got reservations. Like if that team, that Don Granato team makes it in by 1 point, or the season was that the same? No, that wasn't the same year. I'm thinking the Cahoon year where they trade for Simmons and Cahoon, and we're gonna make the Bottrell's up there. Where the moves we made are the moves, and then they lose 6 straight, and then they miss the playoffs. That's the COVID year. So those years. There's nobody here selling you that these are teams that are going to – if those teams got in,
that's right.
They're likely getting swept in the first round.
I don't think anything I say that is a generalization I know doesn't speak for everyone, but even the year before that 9-10 when they won the division, I was in this chair the whole time. I don't think the fans really bought that team was going to go win the Stanley Cup, even though they basically went wire to wire at the top of the division that season. It was still too recent from things having fallen apart after 07 when Briere and Drury left. We were, I think, still collectively hungover about that. We just weren't out of the malaise yet. And no, that's why this year, to me, I don't think about 11 is the last time they were there, so you might think about it. And, the clinching game and everything was, X amount of days away and all that. But this year does feel much more like 05-06. And not just because they had that retro Thursday night, remembering bringing all the alumni back and everything. It's that it's a team that you didn't really see coming. Mike and I talked about this yesterday. I think there were signs that the 05-06 Sabres, there was a lot of new there, and you were coming out of a season-long lockout. So it was, maybe a little easier to see a good team forming. This team, who knew? The same team was in last place, and then a switch flipped. But the fact that they've risen to the point where they're a contending level team, really not just playoff contention, but round-winning, cup-winning contention level is very similar to 05-06 because you didn't see it coming, and suddenly a few months go by, and you're like, how many points do I have again? What happened? Right? So, it's awesome. I would love to hear today, I know the morning show did a lot of this, not to focus on the drought, but the drought, it's going to end here one of these days real soon. Tonight is a chance for it to end.
Yeah.
And so if you want to reminisce a little bit about drought memories, that is totally cool by us. 803-0550. Just different moments. Maybe the time you most thought, this is going to work. This has to work. They're going to be good now. And then they weren't. I'll raise my hand. One of my favorites was liking the idea of hiring Ralph Kruger.
Yeah.
Right.
That was
this
real.
Is outside the box.
That was really real.
This is innovative. This is a really, don't just hire another recycled, grizzled, half-bald coach. Go get something, go get somebody different. And holy crap, what a disaster, right?
Disaster.
I mean, that goes on. I mean, I looked at, there's a tweet that made the rounds. It's from August. But it's like an iceberg, and it's just got a couple of lines describing different events. And there's stuff on there that I don't even remember. Yep. Like, I'm not sure what it means. Like the 3 words, like, I don't really know what that is, but okay. I mean, I it means something to somebody. I get it. So there's a lot of different low points, if you will, there. So anything in that realm is fair game. Any way you want to talk about what this means to you. I've been asked a lot in the last week or so to try to express what it means, to have them back at the level that they're back. And so if anybody wants to share that, whether it means you're going out tonight with your adult sons or your young family, or you're leaving kids at home to go do it, or whatever you're doing, just to have something back in your life that really, it wasn't ever gone, but it was very much over there, I think, for a lot of us. To have it like storm back into the room and just be the belle of the ball again is pretty incredible.
Yeah, no, there was so many, again, it's hard because different times of my life with the Bills going on their 17-year playoff drought, and then kind of how it broke where I was here at the station versus now, and where I was in my life when the drought began. It's borderline not particularly it's not very clear to me after the Music City Miracle was like, I don't remember a lot about that season. I remember the Music City, that's pretty much it. But now it just sort of felt like there had been continuing lows and low points. Well, it can't get worse, and then it gets worse. Well, it can't possibly get worse, and then it gets worse. And the whole, they were over there. There were times I just felt like, why am I watching these games? Why? And I got to a point, I just I'm not going to watch the games. And I remember times of the last 2 seasons being here, filling in for Mike, talking with you about okay, I might be back. I'm listening to post-game press conferences again. And that has some meaning to me because I feel like when I'm listening to post-game press conferences, I'm there.
That's a thing you only do when you really care deeply about whatever clues you're going to get from the coach about any of this.
And basically the only time this franchise could fill that arena was, all right, well, you want to roll back? You want to roll back the 05-06 team? You want to have who are we going to put into the Hall of Fame this year?
Right.
And instead of normal teams who do that once a year, maybe once every 2 years, Sabres are we got to do this 3 times a year. It's the only way to get people in here. And we've talked about this a bunch where it almost felt where it was so cheap to get to these games. I mean, I was living, and I have been for the better part of 4 years downtown, where I could walk to the arena when the weather started to turn. But by April, my God, their playoff chances had been 0 for a month.
Yeah.
So why would I ever walk 3/4 of a mile in the city to that way when I could go any other way downtown?
Right. Even if the ticket was $6.
Right. And there would be more times where, okay, hey, we'll go to the Sabres game, or hey, someone's got free Sabres tickets. Okay. We could go to the casino. Perfect. And we'll hop in for a period and then go to the casino. And that's really what it became. And it is nice to go back to games. Does this sound weird? It sort of feels like everyone is the popular kid again. You go to the Sabres games and you're like, what's up, buddy? You're up to 200 level with your buddies. And you're like, hey, 8 people are all in a group text. Hey, we're going down to the Odd Club. Everyone meet there at the end of the intermission.
Right.
And it's like, man, I don't remember a time where being at a Sabres game, it was like a reunion of sorts because you haven't been there in so long to enjoy a game where it's, I wonder what the hot dog of the day is today. Will that convince me to pay the $6 on Ticketmaster? Or people were showing up to the game. I mean, think about the last time we were, parking up in the thing, up in the ramp, and we're getting up there at 6:50. We're like, we're going to miss face-off. Like, damn it. And it's like, in years past, first of all, it would never happen because there would be no line to get into the ramp. But you were just thinking, we'll get there a couple minutes in. We'll miss the anthem. Big deal.
It's like the Sabres became, I don't mean this as in any way to be offensive to the Bisons, but it's like the Sabres became minor league baseball. Part of the fun of going to Bisons games is that there's not that pressure to it's not as expensive, which is what happens when the Sabres are bad and you buy tickets on the secondary market.
They were less expensive than Bison's games.
The results don't matter because the standings don't matter. And I know that they keep standings in the International League, but I'm not living and dying on whether the Bisons beat the Rail Riders. I'm just going to go to the game and I watch some baseball and I like the ballpark and that's it. And that is not what going to hockey games had been for a lot of us. You said you were how old? 14? 15?
I would have been 14 or 15 in the 06-07 run.
Okay.
I was a freshman in college.
Right. So I'm just thinking
when they last made it.
Right. So you've had that's a significant part. You were playing quarterback at Buff State. You had and your life has completely changed since then. Which is, of course it would for most people, but it's a interesting pocket of your life there.
I was looking, it's the iPhone 5 was launched. 5! Osama bin Laden was killed. Things that you don't remember because they were long enough ago.
Yeah.
I remember some of those things where I was in college and in my freshman dorms at Buff State, right? And it's I don't have a lot of those things. And 14, 15 is, we are talking peak of my Sabres and Bills fandom, even though the Bills had never been good during my childhood. It was, 14, 15 years old, 05, 06, or 04, 05, 06, and 06 and 07. That is, to me, my dad's getting sweet tickets from work and smuggling me into games. And I think I told you I was at the Rangers game where, Drury scores in regulation with 3 seconds left, and then Afinogenov scores in overtime. I'm young enough to be so upset and brought to tears that they were about to lose that game that I was not watching the game when Drury scored. So I'm young enough to have been in tears for that.
Right. Martin Straka made you cry.
Yes.
Not almost. It actually happened.
He made me cry.
Turned out the reason for the cry.
I was in the back of the suite. Back of the suite wasn't even in eyesight of the rink.
Your dad's with his coworkers, just sort of let Nate have a moment.
Yeah, let him go over there. Let him go over there.
He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Man, a lot has changed. All right, well, I asked for calls on anything pertaining to this moment in time, the significance of the drought ending, anything from the drought you want to share. We're very open today. 803-0550 is the phone number. Let's get to Jay first up this segment. Hi, Jay. Thanks for calling. You're on the air here on WGR.
Sure, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Just a couple memories, and then just maybe something going on with the present. So, I guess real quick, the first time during the drought I really thought they were going to get in was the beginning of the 16-17 year. That was Eichel's second year. They signed Kyle Oposo in the summer. Eichel sprains his ankle. Oposo, I think, missed the first game or two of that year. Then Oposo went to the ICU at the end of the year. That season just went totally off the rails, and it never recovered from there. Maybe my favorite, at least good memory during the drought, I was at the game, Ted Nolan's first game back, and that was shortly after my father had a miraculous stage 4 melanoma recovery. So we were at that game together, and that was awesome. And I have to say it was 50-50 Sabres and Leafs fans. It wasn't 80-20 like you see nowadays and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say maybe those are maybe some of my like bigger memories. There's too many I can get into without taking too much time. And then maybe to the present day, to me, to put it in a nutshell, why they've been more consistent. I think Tuesday's game was reminiscent of that. Their passes out of the defensive zone, like they were much better at quickly breaking up plays, passes to the front, getting the pass on the tape out to center ice. And that seems to like turn, turn that defense into speed. I think that's why they had so many good chances on Tuesday night. Could have been like 6 or 7-2 if not for the way Sorokin played. I think maybe that's kind of what the identity of this team is at least in my opinion, how they turn defense into offense.
Yeah, I think that's a good observation, Jay. Really, we got to go for sure. I think, speed is what that is. Speed and precision. I mean, the passing, speed without the precision of passing is not going to really get you anywhere. But when the passing is on, you can use your speed as a weapon, and they're excellent at that. This river hockey notion, everything they do to me springs from defense. Yeah. Whether it's the defenseman in the offensive zone or, like Jay's suggesting, coming out of the zone with speed and precision, that's it might look like river hockey, but it's from defensive discipline, I think, is the big difference this team has shown this year as they have grown. Thank you for the call. We'll take lots more of them. 803-0550 is the phone number. We do have one football guest, and it's one of our favorites, our buddy Connor Rogers from SNY on the draft. So we'll spend, a good half an hour or so on football at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. Other than that, man, you got anything to throw on the fire today about the experience you've been through as a fan with your family, with your children, just you as an individual through 14 years of this drought and it coming to an end here in the coming days, hopefully as soon as tonight. We are here for you. 803-0550 again is the number. Nate Geary is in for Mike Schopp. I am the Bulldog, and this is WGR.
In sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go! forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time. Oh, sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster.
I haven't done anything yet. Even if you clinch, it doesn't really mean anything. It's obviously a big honor, and it's a goal of ours that we had at the beginning of the season. But I think as you play out the season, I think the goals change, and your standard gets raised. And now it's, I don't know how to put it, but it's not like just making playoffs is our goal anymore. So I'm sure there'll be a good reaction from Buffalo back home, but real work starts once playoffs start.
Yeah, I wonder. We talked a little bit about this. You have a thought on like how they might react if they clinch tonight? Like, is it like
no?
It's not champagne and ski goggles, right?
No,
like,
no,
right? Like, no, right? No.
I would imagine. They feel like a team that sort of takes after Zucker a little. Like he's kind of like the elder statesman.
Mm-hmm.
He's 33, 32 years old. I mean, he's not even that old. Because like I'm not old, so he can't be old.
Yeah, keep it up.
So like I would bet there's a moment after the game if they win and someone's passing the belt, like there'll be a moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that it's going to be. I would imagine it's not going to be a huge thing for them, just from the sound of Tage there in that sound.
Right. Yeah. Which I think is appropriate. I think that's
Agreed.
how you want them to feel. Like
It's different clinching the last day of the regular season and you're sneaking your way back in, and then it's a real moment.
Yeah. Right.
But
when you've got 7 games to get something done.
Yep.
It's hard, I think, to get too excited about that moment. But yet, I think from the fan standpoint, this is where the players are so different. Like, yes, they're carrying the weight of the franchise not being in the playoffs for 14 years, but they haven't lived every one of those years.
Right.
Very few of them have even lived half of that. Right? Maybe even Dahlin is the only one. Thompson got here that same year or the year after. Whatever. There's just not a lot of them that have been anywhere near through what the fans have been through for 14 seasons. 803-0550 is the number. The drought could be ending tonight with a Sabres win in Ottawa. There's a sneaky way they can also get in with just a loser point if I think it's Philadelphia and Columbus, I think is the other team. Zach, do you happen to know? Zach's doing something in there.
If they lose in a
it's
shootout,
Carolina.
it's Carolina.
It's Carolina
and Philly. Yep.
If they both win, the Sabres can get in with just 1 point tonight. Anyway, the drought's ending at some point here. It could be, hopefully, as soon as tonight. And what does that all mean to you out there? 803-0550 is the phone number. We'll go to Bill next. Hi, Bill. Thanks for calling. You're on the air here on WGR.
Hey, guys. So I'll try to make this super quick. I retired from the Navy about a year and a half ago. My son was born February of 11, so he was a baby the last time we were in the playoffs. So now he's my road dog. I got season tickets. It was a goal of mine the entire time I was in the Navy. Got them last year. Almost didn't renew. Decided to renew. And, man, going to these games with my kid, that was, he was still pooping mustard seeds when he was the last time we were in the playoffs. And looking at him and watching how excited he gets and knowing how much I love this team and what we're doing, it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made, and me and him are just completely over the moon.
Well, Bill, I feel like 13, 14 years old, if you just go back to yourself being 13, 14, 15, I can't imagine an age where sports mean more to you than at that age. Right. Like, that is peak fandom of everything that I've loved about sports. That was when I was playing and I was having the most fun. It's like that formative turn from, your early teen years to, like, you kind of think you're an adult and, like, you get to enjoy it. Like, I don't know. You remember everything when you're 13, 14, 15.
And doubling down on that and making up for all the times I was away and deployed, training, all that stuff, and getting to, recoup that time with him doing this, it's beyond incredible.
Yeah, man, Bill, thanks and thanks for painting the baby poo picture as graphically as you did too. There is that has got to be a big piece of this. My kid started playing hockey and loved it. And so, like, he was not a hard sell. My oldest son, my younger son, never really got into it. And, totally cool with me. But the big guy was into it. But so I never really had to, like, explain to him why I loved the Sabres so much, even though they were terrible for most of his conscious, childhood. Again, he's 4 years old in 06. He doesn't remember them being good. In 11, he's 9, and, that was fun for a series, but it didn't really last. But I never really had to, like, do the work. He never asked me, why do you like hockey so much?
Yeah.
Why do you write? But a lot of people, whether their kids played or not, they don't all take to it the way my big kid did. And I think what I'm hearing from the caller here is just reminding me that there are people with kids that age and even older that maybe for the first time are understanding why dad or mom cared so much about it in the first place. Because, if all it was misery, your whole, and like dad swearing at the TV and wondering what the hell Phil Housley's doing, right? You're like, oh, this isn't fun. These aren't, I'm going to go play video games. This isn't for me, right? Now it's like, oh, I see. I get it. The whole city, like everyone who cares about sports, is thinking about and talking about them, and that hasn't happened in a long time.
I do think too, what the Sabres being so bad for the last decade and a half have made me realize is that they really were my connective tissue to watching and playing hockey, right? I mean, I didn't play ice hockey growing up, but I can tell you what I did every single night from like age 9 to 14, just play knee hockey in the living room with a Sabres stick. In every game that I'm going to the Sabres store to ask my dad to get me a stick, like just a mini hockey stick, so that when my 3 friends from down the street would come and play full contact in my living room, that we would have sticks to go through. And then it was, well, now we're wearing gear and Sabres jerseys. And then it's street hockey. And, I think for me, once you're past the age of playing street hockey, which again, 13, 14, 15, these would have been rollerblades, 20 kids from 3 different the surrounding neighborhoods with round robin teams we're building, brackets and
Tell me somebody was keeping stats.
Yeah, right. 100%. And you would be stoked about the kid my cousin was the kid in the neighborhood who had all the goalie gear. And different goalie masks and a Sabres mask and a closet in the garage with all of the equipment that everyone in the neighborhood's going. My cousin's not home. Hey, hey, Marianne, can we go in and get the stuff so we can play in the street? I know Jake's not playing. Can we get the stuff? And to me, that's why that age for me was so much what I loved about hockey. And when I became an adult and playing hockey I wasn't tied to the game anymore, my love for it really dissipated because they were so annoyingly bad and just poking a dead body, it felt like at times, do something. That your love for a game that really was such a part of your childhood, I didn't have the connection to it anymore. So when I'm not watching a Sabres game or tweeting at people saying, you idiots are still watching this, it's because there was no more emotional attachment to the game. I'm not watching playoff hockey because I'm well, now I'm going to watch the NBA because no one there can hurt me, really. I'm a Knicks fan, but at least they're making the playoffs, kind of. And so I don't know. The thing that I may be most excited about, Bulldog, is now when ESPN puts up the feature that the Sabres don't have to be listed next to the New York Jets.
Right.
To think you're the New York Jets of the NHL?
That's tough, and that's where we've been living. That's right.
Yeah.
Always so important to have at least one kid in the neighborhood that has the gear.
Yeah.
Right? The D-Bolds across the street from me, 3 brothers, 2 twins, Mark and Scott, and Mike was younger. And their dad was a plumber. I think this is right.
Oh, so did he make nets?
He made nets out of the PVC. Anytime after school, the D-Bolds had to one of the nets.
Yeah.
And now we're playing with there's somebody's winter hat and a spare boot or something. There's a net on one side. And great, you shoot and then now the ball's rolling down the street.
Yep.
There's
or
no
my
net.
favorite.
At least you only had to go down the street to get the ball when you missed the net, but at least you had the net to catch, the shots that were on target.
There's
favorite part, of chasing the ball 10 doors down because there was no net.
Car. Everyone's got to move the nets out of the street. That again. What's funny too is we had the backup nets, which was just the net and not a real hockey net,
right?
With
just the frame.
Yes, just the frame,
right,
just something to shoot into.
Yeah.
I also, had multiple times a property manager knock on my door growing up because there was a apartment complex at the end of my street with white garages. And when I was alone and no one was playing, I was going to the parking lot and ripping wet tennis balls
at the
garage door and wet asphalty.
I can see the mark. I can totally see the mark.
And
the wet tennis ball leaves on a garage door.
And there's nothing better
100%.
than the paneled, because then you can make your own goal and do the thing and be the Rick Jenneret announcer that you're doing yourself playing. And again, these are just things for me that when the attachment of not having those things of playing hockey in the street with my friends anymore were gone, it was a sobering moment when you realize, it's not that I hate hockey, but I don't love it, and these guys are making me hate it.
803-0550 is the number. We're reminiscing about the drought. We're talking about the end of the drought. We're really talking about what the Sabres mean to you. 803-0550 is the number. Nate Geary is in for Mike Schopp. I am the Bulldog. You're listening to WGR. I don't know that I've ever missed something as badly as I missed the first time Mike asked me, which was on the heels of folks with the Sabres asking me for a part of a project they're working on about what it's going to feel like when the drought ends. I kind of just went, I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels like a formality at this point. I mean, they're going to make the play. It's like a week ago Mike brought this up to me. Like, I don't really feel, I don't know. I'm not that dialed in on when it's going to happen. I'm not thinking about the magic number. I just think I've thought since New Year's Eve this team was going to make the playoffs, so I'm not that worried about the moment, right? Which misses the entire point of the moment. The moment is not whether or not you think it's going to happen or not. It's what is it going to feel like when, for the first time in almost 5,500 days of life on planet Earth,
it's a long time.
you go, hey, when the playoffs start and there's like 4 games and 2 of them are at 7 and 2 of them are at 7:30, your team's going to be one of them again. You're gonna have a dog in the fight, a horse in the race, and I completely missed that. And now today, I am super excited about tonight and the opportunity. It's almost, I think, Nate, a bulletproof go-out night because there isn't the tension that will come in a few weeks when it's a playoff game. And, I mean, are you ready out there? An elimination game in a play. Like, this is, you got a lot of net here. You got a lot of runway, right? There's enough games left here. There's 7 games left. And they can clinch tonight, which means that the next time they play on Saturday night against Washington, they can clinch then if they don't do it tonight. And then after that, there's still 5 more opportunities. Like, they got a mile to work with here. So there's not, if you do go out tonight to party and celebrate with friends and you want to be with one another when it happens and it doesn't happen, that kind of sucks for your night out, and the bill will feel a little heavier when you go to pay it because, they didn't win. But you didn't really lose anything either. You lost an opportunity to celebrate on a Thursday instead of on a Saturday or a Monday, right? There's just a lot of room here for them. But that doesn't mean it won't feel pretty incredible when they actually win a game that puts them in the playoffs for the first time since 2011.
Yeah, I think we're probably, I don't know, maybe a full month removed from actually feeling like talking about it is not a jinx. Right. I mean, we're probably about 30 days from that. Like, I had a conversation with a buddy of mine who lives, in the Southern Tier. We're talking about, hey, game 1, you come up, you can stay with me. We'll do party in the Platte. They're going to do party in the Platte. And then we're just kind of like that conversation, And I think even a couple of years ago when they got close in that Don Granato season and they missed by a point, there wasn't really any moment where you were like, you could enjoy it a little bit. Right. And I think what they're doing now and what they're hopefully going to do tonight is going to give us a little run here of a couple of games where, again, I'm trying also not to be dramatic about this, but I said this to somebody else. It was like, I don't know what the 51-3, Bills-Raiders game, like in the second half of that game where the Bills are going to the Super Bowl and like the party and the celebration that was existing in the stands. I would say, again, not to the extreme, but like a couple of weeks here where we can just be like, we could go to a Sabres game. We could just go stand at the Odd Club for 2 periods and, just stand at the bar and be like, hey, we're here, but like, awesome. There is a game going on, but, we can just kind of celebrate in here. So, yeah, it's been a really fun 30-ish days, I think, for a lot of people my age who the last time they were in the playoffs, I was in college. You were still old. So, I mean, it's fine for you.
I was still old, but this distinction is important, and it's why. Thanks for hanging with us here on a Thursday afternoon. Nate Geary in for Mike Schopp. I am the Bulldog. Sabres and Senators tonight. Pregame comes your way at 6. The Sabres can clinch a playoff berth for the first time in 14 seasons with a win tonight. Any kind of win. They can also back whatever. They get a loser point anyway, and Philadelphia and Carolina both win. They will also clinch tonight. 803-0550 is the phone number, for lack of a fancy way to put it. We're mostly just talking about what the Sabres mean to you on, a pretty significant looking day, provided they come through tonight in Ottawa. David is next up. Hi, David. Thanks for calling. You're on the air here on WGR.
Hey, guys. I just want to say that I never got off the bandwagon, and now I'm a little upset because it's getting very crowded. And the ones that upset me the most are the ones who were doubting in November. That's my whole take. And I think I'm going to change things up here, Bulldog. I used to have all the get-ups or jersey I would wear, whether I was at a game or at home. I stopped doing that this year.
And
so I'm taking credit for this.
Oh, I see. You are. Okay. Well, good. So, but you wouldn't cop to not wearing the jerseys anymore as getting off the bandwagon yourself, right?
Right.
It was tactical. It wasn't because you were mad at them. It was you thought they needed the prodding of you taking the jerseys off. I got it. Yeah. Look, I appreciate you. I am not. Everyone, do yourselves. Like, if you want to gatekeep fans that you don't think were fanning the right way, because they were mad at them or they tuned them out and walked away from them or whatever they did, and now they're back. Look, I can't tell you what to do. It's just not. It's not for me at all.
It's also not for me.
I don't have it in me because. I know this about myself, and I think every fan honestly knows themselves better than anyone. I know what this team has meant to me my whole life, right? And I can't really. Maybe I should write it down sometime to try to make sense of it. They've always meant more to me than the Bills. I don't know why, because I played as a little kid, whatever it is. My kid playing, it just means more. So, with that said, someone who cared. It's not a contest, but I know how much I have cared and still do care. And I had to put them. I had to Heisman them. I had to just get over there for a while because I can't really do it anymore. I cannot. It seems so futile. I needed Adams to be removed.
Yeah.
And until that happened, it was going to be very hard for me to get all the way back in because I really think he was in the way of how good a team he'd built himself. It just was never going to happen for me. So, maybe that's why I'm not going to judge, because I'd be judging myself. I'm just trying to be honest about it. Look, man, if you just started liking the Sabres last week, come down to Moore, I'll buy you a beer. I do not care about gatekeeping.
Yeah. I also think, at times there was 3,000 people in that arena. So if you were the one that kept going to all of those games, I have more questions for you than you should have for me. I think, I know people, like 5 people on Twitter want to keep bringing up a tweet about me saying, I can't believe that you're one of the last remaining idiots watching it on a Saturday night. I was doing other things on Saturday nights, and they weren't appointment television anymore.
Right. Very simply. That's just what can happen. So, good for you. I hope that came off like I intended it. I'm not trying to be jerky or mean to you. It's just I'm not interested in that at all myself. We'll take a timeout. Connor Rogers on the NFL Draft right after this. He's Nate Geary. I'm the Bulldog, and you are listening to WGR. I should... A bunch of my friends are going to More Room tonight, including Jeremy White from our morning show and our buddy Brett from whatever. Owen's going. A bunch of people are going. And, you're making I'm 60. There's comfort in going home. There's, a controlled environment. There's I know what I'm going to eat for dinner and all of that, right? As opposed to at 6:45 or 7 o'clock, whatever time I'll get out of here, elbowing my way into a packed North Buffalo bar and, just whatever. But I think I have to do that. I think I have to do that in part because while I wasn't as old as I am now back in especially 05, 06, and 06 and 07, what I'm also not, anymore is tethered to my house because I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old living there.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And a wife who's working nights or going to grad school or whatever the hell my wife, God bless her, was doing like throughout all of that time. But I would work at the arena during the 06 playoffs. I would work in the arena with Mike and get out of there. And literally, I was often on a motorcycle at the time, but I get on a motorcycle, get in my truck, in the ramp, and drive the wrong way out of the ramp and out through the traffic.
As quickly as humanly possible.
As quickly as humanly possible, because I had to get home and get settled, get the boys settled, see my wife off to whatever she was going to do, try to watch a playoff game while putting a 2-year-old to bed. I don't have to do that anymore. So like I never really got to ride that ride in 06 and 07 because my life just dictated that I be home all the time. So I watched both of those playoff runs from my living room. I never went to a game, and I never went out for a game. No, I shouldn't say I never went to a game. I went to like game 1 of the Islanders series in 07.
I was 15.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
I was 15 years old, 14 years old.
Right. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid who was
Since
4
then,
works here now and has a mustache.
So
this is a very different world. So I think I need to get out just to enjoy that because I don't have too much of that. Like a lot of my adult life being on the radio was being at home taking care of little kids when the Sabres were good anyway.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't really know that I think very much about their last playoff series, to be honest. It's not a memorable, it's not the 05, 06, 06, 07 where they're contenders. They sort of backed their way into the playoffs.
It was a fever dream.
Yes.
Then back in, they went 24-2 or something.
You just didn't ever feel like
they were a good team.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Even though this year there has been very similar moments or feelings from that last playoff team, this one has a little bit more of like they're one of now 4 teams with 100 points. They're one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
They've done it over the course of 3 or 4 months. This isn't, luck and, again, backing their way in, but just there's a real feeling that, yes, the playoffs are here, but I don't think anyone's got reservations. Like if that team, that Don Granato team makes it in by 1 point, or the season was that the same? No, that wasn't the same year. I'm thinking the Cahoon year where they trade for Simmons and Cahoon, and we're gonna make the Bottrell's up there. Were the moves we made are the moves, and then they lose like 6 straight, and then they miss the playoffs. That's the COVID year. So like those years. There's nobody here selling you that these are teams that are going to, if those teams got in,
no, that's right.
They're likely getting swept in the first round.
Look, I don't think, anything I say that is a generalization, I know doesn't speak for everyone, but even the year before that 9-10 when they won the division, I was in this chair the whole time. I don't think the fans really bought that team was going to go win the Stanley Cup, even though they basically went wire to wire at the top of the division that season. It was still too recent from things having fallen apart after 07 when Briere and Drury left. We were, I think, still collectively hungover about that. Like, we just weren't out of the malaise yet. And no, that's why this year, to me, I don't think about 11 is the last time they were there, so you might think about it. And, the clinching game and everything was, X amount of days away and all that. But this year does feel much more like 05, 06. And not just because they had that retro Thursday.
It is Sabres game night, and they are on the road versus Ottawa. And tonight, Sabres can clinch a playoff spot for the first time in 14 years. Very simply, they win, and they are in. The Sabres, though, do have another scenario. They get at least 1 point tonight. They'll need the Flyers and Carolina to both win for them to also get in. But simply put, They win, and they are in for the first time in 14 years. Pregame is at 6 for a 7 p.m. puck drop. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen will get the start tonight, his third start in a row. And then in net for Ottawa, it is going to be Linus Ullmark. Noah Ostlund and Sam Carrick are also both out tonight for the Sabres. Lindy Ruff, though, did give a bit of an update on Carrick, calling him week to week, and would not rule him out for the season. Sabres Injury Report is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. There are 13 other games tonight in the NHL. Some of the notable ones include the big ones. They are at 7, Carolina hosting Columbus, and Detroit at the Flyers. And then also at 7 o'clock, the Lightning host Pittsburgh. The Bruins are in Florida versus the Panthers, and Montreal is in New York versus the Rangers. To the Diamond, the Mets are on late tonight, 9:45. They are at the San Francisco Giants. And then in the minors, Bison's at Omaha just after 7:30, and Rochester is home against Scranton just after 6. And heads up, football fans, as Pittsburgh prepares to welcome the nation to the unofficial beginning of the football season, the celebration will begin the night before with an unforgettable invite-only night of music taking place Wednesday, April 22nd at the Rivers Casino Event Center featuring Jason Aldean, John Morgan, and Shane Prophet. Visit Odyssey.com/thenightbefore to enter now for your chance to win this national contest. Prizes include a round-trip airfare, a 2-night hotel stay, and 2 tickets to the show. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp.
Hey, put a little. I never get this line out the first time. It's not even good. Hey, put a little bit more in there, cowboy.
And the Bulldog.
What's your degree in?
Kicking ass and taking names.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Rolling along through a Thursday afternoon here on the Sports Radio airwaves, WGR Sports Radio 550 to be exact. I am the Bulldog. Mike has the day off today. That means our buddy Nate Geary is here filling in. I say that like every time Mike's off, Nate's here. I wish it were that way. It makes me very happy when Nate's here, so we're glad to have him. And we're also glad to shift gears here for the next 20 minutes or so to the NFL draft with our buddy Connor Rogers from NBC Sports and SNY back on the West Her hotline. Connor, what is going on? The Sabres are about to end a 14-season playoff drought, my friend. I don't know if you're aware of this situation. I'm sorry about the Rangers. I don't really mean that, but we're friends, so I want to be polite. It's a pretty cool time here in Buffalo right now, man. How are you?
Fellas, I'm doing great, and I'm genuinely happy for you, honestly. Like, I am kind of, in a similar way going through this with the entire Jets fan base of, trading – years of the drought, and now the Jets not only get to own this on their own, but I think it'll be a unique experience when they eventually kind of have that Sabres-level season of breaking what is a drought of misery. So I'm very happy for you guys. Some of my best memories as a sports fan are hockey-related because, unfortunately, the Mets, Jets, and Knicks haven't given me a ton of memories throughout my lifetime. So, shockingly, it is associated with the Rangers, but genuinely happy for you guys. I think it's really, really cool. It's about time, by the way. My goodness.
That only makes it sweeter, Connor. That's keep that in mind when and if the Jets get it together. Which, by the way, we're here to talk about the draft, but you obviously cover the Jets. Why did Aaron Glenn talk about the promised land with Geno Smith? Like, that feels like an unforced error to me. Like that was a net fault. Like, you did not need to do that to yourself, dude.
File it under things that don't need to be said. It's just, also the layup for all the people that look to make Jets jokes to be like, yeah, the promised land is the path to the number 1 pick, which is like, it was just put on a tee.
Or the bottom of the Hudson.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just like, it was just too easy where it's like, oh man, we didn't need to do that. I think, progress would be a 7-win season, not the promised land. But I don't know. I think it's weird, right? Glenn has had a very odd tenure with the media, which is one thing I actually did not foresee when he got this job because he played here. Obviously I wasn't old enough at the time to cover him when he played here, but people I've heard from that did or know people that did say he was a joy to cover as a player, kind of knew what he was walking into, not only with Woody Johnson, but because Bill Parcells is his mentor. And he's had a very uneven time with the media, whether it's he says things like that where it's like, what? Or he's very, very defensive. Aaron Glenn, I think in time we'll find that necessary middle ground, but he still hasn't found it consistently. I think also he's feeling it, right? I mean, there's no denying that there was conversations in sports media around New York that, like, was he going to be a one and done?
Right.
And you hear those things. And when you hear the combo of a one and done, well, then you go into year two, like, God, I don't have to show marginal improvement. I might have to show a colossal improvement. So it's almost like he's telling himself that and trying to build confidence with his team. But, you know, obviously we're at the point where just nobody cares until they actually show real progress.
This is exactly how we've been talking about the Sabres for the last couple of years, where we're just out of ideas. I can't even get mad anymore. There's no, Bulldog's going to have a rant tomorrow after this one. Like, nope. I am dead inside. I don't have anything to offer you. I can't throw up anymore. I mean, there's nothing there, right? I'm dry heaves. You want that on the radio? No. So yeah, Jets fans may still be in for it, and that's Connor, man. That's why it's so weird that he said that, because it's like creating an internal pressure that I don't think he really needs.
No, right. You kind of it's exactly right. You almost want to. Last year, right, they moved on from Aaron Rodgers, and it was like they want to be boring and quiet because they really needed that after the entire Rodgers debacle. And Glenn wanted to make it about the team, not about the quarterback. But then, when you lose that many games, naturally things become loud where, you'd want to be quiet again going into this offseason and just try to be normal. And I will tip my cap that their free agency approach definitely aligns with that. They just brought in professionals and raised the floor of a very, very bad defense. But, then you get quotes like that, and Geno is pretty high variance. Like, you could say what you want about Geno, but he's not – it's not like they traded for Jacoby Brissett, right? Or somebody of that ilk. Like, Geno has had a couple 4,000-yard seasons under his belt and some big-time years, and then Geno at his worst is just throwing the ball around the yard and taking sacks and making crazy mistakes. So they did not go with the boring, somewhat of a floor quarterback but low ceiling. You truly don't know what you're going to get with Geno, but I guess they believe in their environment enough that they're going to get the better version of him.
Well, turning our attention to the number 2 overall pick then, and we can get into some of these prospects and talk about just different positions. We'll see how much time we have. What's your best guess as to what they'll do, assuming you don't know, and what do you think they should do at 2 overall, the Jets, Connor?
I think they're going to take Arvell Reese from Ohio State just because he is such a unique athlete in the front seven, and he kind of gets the wrong reputation as this like projection player when he's a great off-the-ball linebacker that a lot of teams want to see develop into a high-end pass rusher, and that part is projecting, but he is so good off the ball right now that at least you know what you're getting as a floor there. I would consider Arvell Reese the favorite, and I think that's the right pathway. The Jets defense has a lot of solid players. They have no stars. They traded Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams. They haven't had other guys take the leap into stardom. So they need a difference maker, and, there's a world where that pass rush potential doesn't end up working out for Arvell Reese, but you have to bet on a difference maker, and he's a difference maker. I'm sure the door is open for David Bailey from Texas Tech. I mean, it's hard not to have conversations about Reuben Bain and Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles, but I just think when they look at the ceiling of Arvell Reese, I think if you polled a lot of teams around the NFL, if they were picking at 2, this is the guy you'd get the consensus feedback on.
Yeah, and too, Connor, like, if you were the Jets right now, how much can you – I mean, this kind of goes back to the conversation we were just having about Aaron Glenn and sort of the pressure. How much does getting this pick right – I don't know, necessarily matter for this head coach, because I just don't know that the number 2 pick as an off-ball linebacker with some projection to be a really high-level edge pass rusher is going to help him in this year, year one. But if you're looking at these edge rushers or these potential players to take at number 2, is he probably the guy you guys look at to say, like, this is the one that gives us the best ability that's pro-ready right now, but also maybe projects as a star into the future?
Well, that's what's so interesting right now is that they're at this crossroads, right? I almost think in a way it can be a blessing in disguise that they don't have to force a quarterback pick at 2 or 16 because number one, that's just bad business. And 2, Glenn was so far away from proving he's the long-term answer at head coach last year that sure, he could figure it out this year, but if you were a betting man, the odds would not be in your favor that he does. So you look at it and go, okay, we kind of need to stay the course right now and just make this roster better. And if Glenn turns the corner, then great, and then we'll move forward to 2027 where we have 3 first-rounders right now, and we might like that quarterback class better. But you really do just need to take the best talent available to you rather than, like, this guy will – like the Giants are operating totally different here in town. That's the perfect cross example. The Giants feel like they're ready. They hired the coach that they feel like gives them, the biggest boost, and they're going to draft that way at 5. The Giants are not going to be looking to take a developmental player at 5 with a massive ceiling. The Giants they're not afraid of taking a safety like Caleb Downs or an off-ball linebacker only like Sonny Styles because they think that gives them the biggest boost right now to kind of, get their win total where it needs to be, where the Jets, I think, have a reality of where they are. Like, the Jets are not – it's hard to say because it's been so long, but they are not ready to be making this crazy push to the playoffs, and they operated that way in free agency as well, and all these picks they've accumulated now for the next 2 years. So that plays into it as well.
Well, let me ask you this then, Connor. Do you think at what is it, 5 where the Giants are, does that maybe mean running back is on the board too for them and Jeremiah Love?
Yeah, he's that good. I mean, you hear people talk about it that way where Tennessee at 4 has been all over him in this process, the Giants at 5. And, some people might be surprised when they hear that with the Giants because people love Cam Scatterbook. But Cam Scatterbook is coming back from serious injury. And Jeremiah Love is in a class of his own where you don't operate that way where you can't take who's viewed as, probably the consensus best player in the draft, Jeremiah Love. That's another guy, like feedback-wise. I think a lot of people would tell you he's the best player. So, yeah, that's why and I think the Chiefs and Saints paying big running back money, even though they're picking 8 and 9, tell you they don't think Jeremiah Love's making it to them. So, you think of the Commanders at 7, the Giants at 5, the Titans at 4. Love is just that much of a talent.
How locked in, if at all, do you think the top of this draft is? Like, there are years where you'll hear, it's all pretty paint by numbers. The draft really will begin at pick 4 or pick 5, right? Because we know what teams 1, 2, 3, and 4 are going to do. How are we close to that being the case this year, or is it pretty much like there's 7 guys and we're pretty sure 5 of those 7 are going to be the top 5? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's closer to the latter. The wild card is Arizona at 3. Arizona is very difficult to figure out for a variety of reasons. They're obviously going with a giant lotto ticket at head coach in Mike LaFleur, who I think has the right offensive ideas. But as a head coach, we'll see, and that's been a home run for some teams in the past. I'm sure people said the same thing when Sean McVay was hired a long time ago, and then there's a lot of guys like, think of Brian Callahan that flame out quickly. Arizona, I think, is the team most open or most desired to get out of their pick at 3. But, how do you get out of that pick at 3? Somebody has to love Jeremiah Love in a way that you didn't see coming. I've heard that they could just not care about consensus view, and they just take an offensive lineman anyway. Would that be Francis Maui-Noah from Miami, Spencer Fano from Utah? So that's in play for them. I'm sure if Arvell Reese doesn't go to the Jets at 2, that would make so much sense for them. But just a lot of people think this is kind of Fernando Mendoza at 1, Arvell Reese at 2, Arizona, a little bit of a wild card. Tennessee could look at Jeremiah Love or another pass rusher because Robert Saleh always bangs the table for pass rushers. And then the Giants at 5, I've consistently heard Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, a little noise about wide receiver, which is interesting to me. I don't know if they're going to do that at 5, but I've heard them doing a lot of work on Carnell Tate and Jordan Tyson specifically. And then the Browns at 6 are all over Carnell Tate as well. And the Commanders, if Jeremiah Love doesn't make it to them, are looking to add another piece of their defense. So, yeah, the first 7 picks, really Arizona is the only true wild card team, in my opinion.
Connor Rogers, at Connor J. Rogers on the Twitter/X machine, NBC Sports SNY, our guest here on the West Her Hotline. To what degree are you buying, the Ty Simpson had his week last week? It was elevate a second quarterback week. It's a tradition unlike any other here. Are you buying that, or are you sort of, one eyebrow up going, are teams planting that so that some other good prospect falls to them at 22 or something? What do you think about the Ty Simpson conversation that really picked up steam in the last week or so?
Yeah, somebody that writes and podcasts way too many mock drafts, I always find it very difficult to fit Ty Simpson in. And that's because it's probably closer to a Jackson Dart situation from last year, that somebody has to want to come back into round one, and the cost is only a third-round pick to do that. You look at Arizona at 34. Do they want to jump the Jets at 33 and go get them? Is there another team that wants to make that move as well? I don't buy the big hype that the Rams at 13 or the Jets at 16 or the Steelers in the early 20s are interested in investing that kind of asset in him, because then he's the guy. Whereas if he's more of a flyer on the back end, whether it's the top of day two or there is that cheap cost to move back in and get the fifth-year option. So as it always does, remember the ghosts of draft past, Will Levis, and we can do this all day, all the guys that have had these kinds of moments.
Right.
There's always one. It's Ty Simpson, and yet I don't think he's going in the top 25 picks to a team that's in their slot right now.
Having said that, I feel uncomfortable with how much Mike McCarthy this week was trying to sell everyone on Will Howard. So let's maybe convince ourselves that there's no way anyone other than Will Howard's parents that love Will Howard as much as Mike McCarthy is saying he does. Let's fast forward a little bit here, Connor, to the 26th overall pick, a pick that I obviously here in Buffalo, I think have been, at least in my own mind, have been falling in love more and more with the idea of the Bills trying to trade out. And maybe that's a Ty Simpson area where a team in the early second round could move back in to the late first. But I think if the Bills do stay pat, and just because there isn't that, value to actually move back, to us, I think everyone here, I know at this station, is really kind of locked in on another wide receiver to pair with DJ Moore and Khalil Shakir. But I think I've really maybe accepted the fact that there's just probably going to be too many edge rushers, good ones, at 26 still available. Are you sort of that mind as well? I'm of the mind that as much as everyone here really loves Casey Concepcion, I don't think he's there at number 26 for the Bills.
Yeah, well, the knee procedure, whatever the cleanup was, maybe bumps him a few spots. That's the only thing I could think of if you're hoping for a guy like Casey, that maybe he is there. I do like Denzel Boston, and I think the league really likes Denzel Boston. And Bills fans probably have a little bit of callous or scarring of is this Keon Coleman all over again? It's not. He was used in a totally different way in the Washington offense, and he's not as tight-hipped, and he's better in contested scenarios. I just don't see the comparison there. I like the fit a lot for Boston with Josh Allen. I think that'd be a slam dunk. Your idea of trading out, if you could trade out of the back end of round one, I would recommend to always do it, because the crop of players starts to fall into the same bucket in this draft after about the first 18 to 22 picks. I would like to see them also maybe get more of a pure pass rusher as well to add to that front. I'm not really buying into the Bradley Chubb resurgence. He could be a solid player for you. There's no denying that. But, do you just keep adding to that group to get, finish games and get off the field? And, I really like Zion Young from Missouri. I think he's going to be a monster. He's my third edge player in this draft. I think he might go in front of that Bills pick, honestly. The Bears at 25 or someone like that. Malachi Lawrence is a total wild card. He could end up being like a 13-sack player, or he could end up out of the league in 3 years. He's such a great athlete. But you really got to get, is this guy going to buy in and be dialed in? Because he is super, super gifted. So for the Bills with me, it's either wide receiver or some kind of front seven speed that falls into their lap at 26. But I do like the idea of a trade.
Well, let me ask you this, too, because there's a great segment this morning on our morning show with Jeremy and Joe, John Ledgerd on, and talking about Bradley Chubb and kind of still fitting into the profile you see Brandon Beane sort of go after, these sort of larger compression edges that aren't really those high-end athletes, no real bend to them.
Parker.
Right, and that's my concern at 26 would be a player like TJ Parker. And the point I loved that Ledgerd made is I think we're going to see just how much influence a Jim Leonhard has, because if they do go with edge at 26, it's another one of those burly TJ Parker types. It's probably Brandon Beane's influence. And if it's one of these Cassius Howells, who, I think I've really kind of fallen in love with as an idea for the Bills, short arms aside, is that sort of your thought as well? Like, that's is sort of what the Bills have really lacked, is that twitchy pass rusher since maybe Jerry Hughes? I mean, is that the last time they had a true twitchy? And now especially, Connor, with the move to I'll say it in quotes, the 3-4, because it's not like they're going to be running front five out there every game, or every play. But is that twitchy edge rusher the one you're maybe looking at identifying for the Bills? And if so, outside of a guy like Cassius Howell, who else do you like there? I know you mentioned Zion Young, but maybe that twitchy, bendy player that might still be available at 26.
So that goes to Malachi Lawrence from UCF. And the thing about Lawrence and Cassius Howell is it goes back to your trade idea. Like, if you move out of 26 and you recoup another asset because you traded a day 2 asset for DJ Moore, one of Cassius Howell or Malachi Lawrence is going to be there in the top 40. There's a world. You got the arm length questions with Cassius Howell, but I know on an island he can get after the quarterback. With Malachi Lawrence, you want to see him round out his game a little bit more, better run defense, but he can get after the quarterback as well and has elite chase speed when you're dealing with, the Lamar Jacksons in the AFC and along those lines. So, yeah, I think that you could do both in that scenario, is recoup a pick and get one of those two guys. And then if you want to go further in the draft, like I think Jayshawn Barham from Michigan, who played a lot of off-ball linebacker, I think he's going to be that 3-4 stand-up, change of direction, great speed, keep it simple, pin your ears back and go. He's going to be a guy that's really, really valuable in that role that does not cost you a first-round pick.
Just a couple of more minutes left here with Connor Rogers from SNY and NBC Sports in New York on the West Her Hotline. How do you feel like overall, obviously the draft hasn't happened yet, and that's a significant milepost in the offseason. How are you viewing the Bills? Just, not knowing what they'll end up doing in the draft, but they made their decisions in free agency. They made a significant buy, costing themselves a second-round pick for DJ Moore, which seemed like a lot to pay at the time.
Yeah.
No, not necessarily a reflection on the quality of the player as much. It's just usually, I feel like I paid sticker there. And, you usually don't have to do that when a team is offloading a contract that was as weighty as the contract DJ Moore came here with. The overall, we got a coaching change for the first time in 9 seasons, Brandon Beane empowered, new style of defense. Like, I don't know, are you feeling same as it ever was, or is there a step back in the window for the Bills in your view?
I think it's more of the same, which, it's weird to say when you set the bar so high. That's not good enough to me. Like, I don't think the Bills are going to be bad. I don't think the Bills are probably going to be in a situation in the playoffs where it's like one play can flip the script if they're playing in the AFC Championship game again. And that's what happens when you have Josh Allen. That's what happens when you have some continuity. And I like Jim Leonard a lot, and I think Joe Brady will be fine. It's just like you have Josh Allen in his prime. I've just been waiting for the splash. And I understand maybe a Myles Garrett hasn't been out there to go get, and maybe you couldn't go get this guy. The DJ Moore move is good, but like it's not A.J. Brown or somebody of that. Look at what the Cowboys did when they got George Pickens. It feels like they need that move where it's like, wow, that was a savvy move by the executives at the top that put the Bills over the top. And when you don't make those moves, then you need to draft those moves, and they haven't drafted those moves all the time. Yeah. So it's more the same for the Bills, which is really dang good. And a lot of teams are envious that they're not in that spot. But, like, you guys feel it more than me. Like, this team's got to win a Super Bowl, man. They have one of the most unique players at quarterback I've ever seen in my football life, and they're not a bad roster. They just feel like they need more needle movers across the board to really, like, what are you waiting for, And I think Beane's patience should run out, and I'd like to see – and they have time. They have a draft. They have more picks. We'll see what they do there. But I just think you're going to be looking at the Bills that we've seen the last couple of years, like, hey, this call or this play in this pivotal playoff game is going to decide it rather than, no, we're just outright better than all these teams.
I honestly, you saying that, Connor, doesn't it feel like then a receiver? Like what you're describing is like, I don't know, is anyone going to really feel great? I would feel fine with a Cassius Howell or somebody there at 26 or a trade back. But I feel like what you're talking about and what I think everyone here has talked about is like if that splash exists, it's just by creating a group of weapons that, I don't know, is just borderline impossible to defend and not be so Josh Allen-centric. And that, to me, doesn't mean turning around and handing the ball off 25, 30 times a game, which I love James Cook, and I think a lot of people here love James Cook. But I think the idea or the excitement around a Joe Brady is in him talking more about a Josh Allen-centric offense. Well, I don't know, that sounds like you're talking about another receiver at 26.
I'd be fine with that, right? I think that's where I go to Denzel Boston. Or do you just want to beat everybody with separation with Concepcion? Are you willing to take a big flyer, maybe not at 26, but if you trade it out and you took Chris Brazzell from Tennessee and you just want to absolutely take the top off of every defense and open up your run game that way? Yeah, I think you should scare teams. Josh Allen scares teams. Their offensive line has scared teams in the past, but they need to really be able to scare teams with what they trot out at wide receiver. And they're one player away from doing that, but you have to hit on that player, and that's an interesting kind of spot to back yourself into a little bit.
Connor, we always enjoy the time. I'm confident that at this point you know that. Anything we need to know from you?
Guys, I'm doing great. I'm sure I'll be back on with you guys before the draft or right after it. But I'm excited to see how this thing shakes out. This is a huge one for Bean. I'd like to see him be creative in some kind of manner. So that's the thing I'm keeping my eye on. But, yeah, I think we got through a lot of it today.
All right, man.
And good luck with your Sabres trying to get this thing over the finish line, man. I mean it.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. Appreciate the time as always, and we'll catch up again soon, man.
Thanks, guys. Great talking to you.
That is our dude, Connor Rogers, NBC Sports, SNY, a variety of podcasts, whatever. Find all of his work at Connor J. Rogers on the socials, Twitter, X, anyway.
Yes.
All right, good deal there. 803-0550 is the phone number. Anything that comes to mind from what our guest had to say about the draft is certainly fair game at 803-0550, but we're hoping to kind of fire up the Sabre sentimentality machine again here. Like what it comes down to is we're talking about how much this team means to you, because it's been 14 years. They can clinch a playoff spot for the first time in over 5,000 days. It's close to 5,400 days. I mean, it's been a minute, all right? And so a lot of folks are fired up about that. We're confident, if they don't get it tonight, it's going to happen soon. Their margin for error is immense, so I'm not worried about jinxing anything. But you want to talk about how you came through 14 seasons without the playoffs and just how dark it may have gotten for you and just how great it is to be back. We'd love to hear from you. 803-0550 is the number. Nate is in for Mike Schopp today. I'm the Bulldog, and this is WGR. Night, remembering bringing all the alumni back and everything. It's a team that you didn't really see coming. Mike and I talked about this yesterday. Like, I think there were signs that the 05-06 Sabres, like there was a lot of new there, and you were coming out of a season-long lockout. So it was, maybe a little easier to see a good team forming. This team, who knew? I mean, the same team was in last place, and then the switch flipped. But the fact that they've risen to the point where they're a contending level team, like really not just playoff contention, but round winning, cup winning contention level, is very similar to 05-06, because you didn't see it coming, and suddenly a few months go by and you're like, how many points do I have again? What happened? Right? So, I mean, it's awesome. I would love to hear today, I know the morning show did a lot of this, not to focus on the drought, but like the drought, it's going to end here one of these days real soon. Tonight is a chance for it to end.
Yeah.
And so if you want to reminisce a little bit about like drought memories, that is totally cool by us. 803-0550. Just different moments. Maybe the time you most thought, this is going to work. This has to work. They're going to be good now. And then they weren't. I'll raise my hand. One of my favorites was liking the idea of hiring Ralph Kruger.
Yeah.
Like,
right. That was
this
real.
is outside the box.
That was really real.
This is innovative. This is a really, don't just hire another recycled, grizzled, half-bald coach. Go get something, go get somebody different. And holy crap, what a disaster, right?
Disaster.
I mean, that goes on. I mean, there's a tweet that made the rounds. It's from August. But it's like an iceberg, and it's just got a couple of lines describing different events, and there's stuff on there that I don't even remember. Yep. Like, I'm not sure what it means. Like the 3 words, like I don't really know what that is, but okay. I mean, I it means something to somebody. I get it. So there's a lot of different low points, if you will, there. So anything in that realm is fair game. Any way you want to talk about what this means to you. I've been asked a lot in the last week or so to try to express what it means, to have them back at the level that they're back. And so if anybody wants to share that, whether it means you're going out tonight with your adult sons or your young family, or you're leaving kids at home to go do it, or whatever you're doing, just to have something back in your life that really, it wasn't ever gone, but it was very much over there, I think, for a lot of us. To have it like storm back into the room and just be the belle of the ball again is pretty incredible.
Yeah, no, there was so many, again, it's hard because different times of my life with the Bills going on their 17-year playoff drought, and then kind of how it broke, where I was here at the station versus now, and where I was in my life when the drought began, it's borderline not particularly it's not very clear to me. After the Music City Miracle was like, I don't remember a lot about that season. I remember the Music City. That's pretty much it. But now it just sort of felt like there had been continuing lows and low points. Well, it can't get worse, and then it gets worse. Well, it can't possibly get worse, and then it gets worse. And the whole, they were over there. There were times I just felt like, why am I watching these games? Why? And I got to a point, I just I'm not going to watch the games. And I remember times of the last 2 seasons being here, filling in for Mike, talking with you about okay, I might be back. I'm listening to post-game press conferences again. And that has some meaning to me because I feel like when I'm listening to post-game press conferences, I'm there.
That's a thing you only do when you really care deeply about whatever clues you're going to get from the coach about any of this.
And basically the only time this franchise could fill that arena was, all right, well, you want to roll back? You want to roll back the 05-06 team? You want to have who are we going to put into the Hall of Fame this year?
Right.
And instead of normal teams who do that once a year, maybe once every 2 years, Sabres are we got to do this 3 times a year. It's the only way to get people in here. And we've talked about this a bunch where it almost felt where it was so cheap to get to these games. I mean, I was living, and I have been for the better part of 4 years downtown, where I could walk to the arena when the weather started to turn. But by April, my God, their playoff chances had been 0 for a month.
Yeah.
So why would I ever walk 3 quarters?
Sabres game night, and it is a big one. They are on the road versus Ottawa. And tonight, the Sabres can clinch a playoff spot for the first time in 14 seasons. And it is very simple. With a win tonight, they will secure their spot. The Sabres do also have another scenario. They get at least 1 point. They'll need the Flyers and Carolina to both win. But the easiest and most simplest way they can get in is win. Pregame is at 6 p.m. for a 7 p.m. puck drop. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen will get the start tonight. It's his 3rd game in a row. And in net for Ottawa, it'll be Linus Ullmark who will get the start for them. Noah Ostlund and Sam Carrick are both out tonight for the Sabres. Lindy Ruff, though, did give a bit of an update on Carrick, calling him week to week and would not rule him out for the season. And the Sabres Injury Report, it is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. There are 13 other games tonight in the NHL. The most notable ones tonight include the 2 big ones. They are also at 7 o'clock, Carolina hosting Columbus and Detroit at the Flyers. And then the other games to pay attention to for the Eastern Conference race are also at 7. The Lightning hosting Pittsburgh, Bruins are in Florida versus the Panthers, and Montreal is in New York versus the Rangers. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Both teams want the tie. Look at the forecheck.
They're doing us a favor. Myers just hanging on to the puck. He says, come and get me, come and get me. And nobody wants to. Now Hartnell does, and Myers dumps it off into the corner. 10 seconds to go. Pominville's got it at center. Yo, Stanley Cup playoffs. Here come the Buffalo Sabres.
$5,473 days ago. Man.
Feels like they got to play that. They got to have that Rick sound ready to go if they're winning in regulation in the last 3 seconds. I feel like they got to have that.
We shall see. Did you? All right. the Sabre report is where I saw this iceberg tweet. I thought Jeremy retweeted it. Jeremy White from our morning show retweeted it saying it's art, which, I agree. You got the depiction of the iceberg, the bit that's, above the water and then way below. And there's just, it's hundreds of things that have happened during the drought, the Sabres playoff drought. And I'm telling you, I read every one. I'm not going to, I can't do it. It'd be too long. And I'm going through, it's like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Like, what is that? One of those that stood out to me was I like halfway, three-quarters of the way down the page, Bob Dylan is there. I'm like, what is that?
You don't remember
Bob Dylan? No.
Oh, yeah.
Then I went, the elevator.
Yep.
There's an elevator while they were in Europe.
Yep.
Right? Is that's what that is?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Bob Dylan. This is a pretty thorough list.
The things you've willfully forgotten. It's just, I forget what movie it is. Sometimes you got to make room for the bigger stuff, which in my life happened to be just like everything else over the last, I don't know, not the whole drought. Like early on, you were thinking, I don't know though, some of those early drought lineups.
Oh,
somebody,
dude, yeah.
Somebody dropped one the other day, which was like their favorite drought lineup was from like maybe it's 2018 or something. It was Brandon Montour on
playing
the wing.
Forward. Yeah.
That was a Bottrell special.
Yeah. I mostly always think of Zach Delpy for some reason as my name for that, and like I don't know, maybe there's probably more. Well, as an example, on this list from again the Sabre report, they tweeted this out in August is the date on this past August. Where'd it go? Because I need to see the guy's name because I'm not gonna. Oh yeah, Dalton Smith. You remember Dalton Smith? They called him up. They called him up from Rochester. He dressed. He had one shift, got in a fight, and that was it. It's like he's like Moonlight Graham. Although he's got stats. I mean, he got penalty minutes, but he showed up, played, and like I think he played 15 seconds or something. And I don't believe he's ever played another NHL game. I think like that is it. I could go to his hockey prospects page and find out for sure. But like there's a name. Like, oh yeah, I remember that happening. Kruger saying Skinner measures his career by goals is a touchstone in my family. We talk about this all the time in my house. No, we don't. But that's a pretty good one. Is there any other thing? You said you had a list of things that were around iPhone 5. Is there more meat on there to chew on before we get back to calls? Just a couple of examples.
There is plenty. The Dark Knight Rises, which is feels like a very old movie. Oh God, this one was tough when it was like Jersey Shore was still in the throes of popular culture.
Wow,
that hurts.
Yeah, that stings.
That hurts.
We should have known we were headed for bad places when that was happening. Like just as a society, as a species.
Yeah, right.
Go with yeah.
At that point, TikTok was not around, not yet invented.
Sure. Right.
Which is pretty crazy. This one, I didn't like the fashion and trends because it says skinny jeans were in, which I feel like at no point were they in. But apparently they were in.
Yeah.
2012, that season.
I had a very regrettable skinny jean.
Did you? Era. Did you have a skinny jean era?
Yeah.
What year was this?
Way. I was way older than I should have been.
Okay.
It's very.
Wow.
It's very, very bad. Very bad.
I don't know why.
Skinny jean.
I can't see it.
Skinny jean bad. Skinny jean hurt dad. Skinny jean bad.
I'm just glad that I don't know that I could ever picture you in them, and I'm happy about that, to be honest. But
my parts of my body hurt right now just thinking
about it.
Wearing those pants sitting here right now.
You wearing skinny jeans.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's horrific.
Like, how skinny are we talking? Like, hard to put on?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, force your foot through, pull up on the calf of the jean to get it over your foot. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
humiliating, and I wish I hadn't brought it up. But you said skinny jeans, and
your eyes lit up.
This is me. I just have to, I have a thing that I can humiliate myself with. Thanks for bringing up skinny jeans.
Your
Nate.
eyes really lit up, though. You saw skinny jeans, you were like, this is my moment. This is my time.
Right? No, well, yeah.
Well, at one time, that had been your time.
Yeah.
LeBron James hadn't won a championship yet.
Okay.
That was the year that Michael Phelps just went on that insane Olympic run. And 2012 would have been the first year where cutting the cord for cable into streaming became apparently a thing.
Here, I thought when I did that in the summer of 2020 in the throes of that first COVID spring, that I was ahead of the curve.
No, you were. In fact, you were quite behind
8 years behind in my skinny jeans.
Facebook.
I was done with skinny jeans by then. I'm just saying.
Luckily, Facebook acquired Instagram in that year. Okay, the number one, the first YouTube video to ever hit 1 billion views came in 2012.
Is it that what color's the dress thing?
Gangnam Style.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was the first 1 billion view.
Remember that dude played at halftime of the Bills game in Toronto?
Yes.
Remember that?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Okay, the Bills would have been playing in Toronto at this time.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
Good flavor.
Some bad stuff.
8030550 is the number. Sabres memories, Drought memories. We're just look, man, it's a cool night for a lot of Sabres fans that have been waiting a long time to get here, a chance to clinch the first playoff spot after a 14-season drought. So we're just we're reminiscing about the drought a little bit, also talking about being back in and how that feels to you to have it back. Maybe, you had little kids and now they're grown and you're enjoying hockey games with them. I've got a lot of that going on in my house. It's mostly the spirit of what we're looking for here. 8030550 is the number. Sam is first up this segment. Hi, Sam. Thank you for calling. You're on the air here on WGR.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I'm out in Seattle. I'm 65 years old. I grew up on the west side. I've been a Bills and Sabres fan since before the Sabres were the Sabres. And I never lost, interest in either of the teams. I've always been faithful and devoted to them. And even over the 14 years with the Sabres in their drought and all the Bills droughts, I've always stayed true to them. I've lived in Los Angeles, Atlanta, Miami. I've lived all over the country. And I've been a Bills backer in every single city I've lived in. I'll never not be a Sabres or Bills fan, and that's just the way it is for me.
All right. Appreciate you sharing, Sam, and appreciate you tuning in way out in Seattle. Yeah, I mean, I never stopped. I've never thought I have a new favorite hockey team. I mean, there are teams that I will start to like when the playoffs get here, and I like how they play, or I like a couple of their guys, or maybe I like their coach or whatever, and I sort of hit, glom on to it. But I don't buy gear and start rooting for them for real. It's just sort of a placeholder because I'm not in the playoffs, so I want to have some rooting interest, I guess. I don't think that's the thing about the gatekeeping conversation. Not to bring that back up again, but from last hour that I always kind of struggle with, because I just think it makes so many assumptions about your level of fandom. You don't know how much I've cared and poured into this team. And I'm not speaking for myself. I just mean nobody else knows how much you out there have poured in. And if you need to step back from it for a little while for your mental health, because you think it's maybe not the healthiest thing to do on say a nice summer Saturday, Easter weekend, to watch Matt Hackett get his leg broken in a game at the Fleet Center in Boston in a meaningless regular season game, and it's 80 degrees out, and you're a moron, and your family's out walking around Delaware Park having a nice time looking at birds, and you're in the house watching Matt Hackett get aircasted because you're a psycho and you got to watch the game. this may be a first-hand account of
Sounds dangerously personal.
Like, if at some point that person, it's me, has to go like, yeah, I need to like just step away. I don't know. You want to judge me harshly? It's like I don't care enough for something. I mean, knock yourself out. I just think this thing wore us out, and it wasn't just that they were losing. It was that they weren't doing anything these last 5 years prior to Kevin Adams getting fired in December. They weren't doing anything about it. It was seemingly good enough for them to be in last place every year.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. I think at some point you got to stand up and go, this team does not deserve my love right now. They're in a bad place.
Yeah.
Go fix yourself. All right.
I'm going to fix me.
Get some counseling, right? You go and like, listen, I will meet for coffee after that.
Yeah.
But for right now, you need to go see a team of people and get your you-know-what together. And I'm going to go over here and, like, watch the Florida Panthers play for a while.
Right.
That's it. So, anyway.
The Rolston's gardening gloves was a really good one in the that's good. I was here filling in for the Dwayne call.
Yeah, I know.
It was you and I.
I know. I remember.
It was you and I.
The Dwayne call is on. There's a couple of things that were very tied to the show on that list. That's one of them.
Yeah.
The Dwayne call was on this.
You
program.
and I.
And
the looks of us were like, we're just gonna let this ride.
This guy go.
This was previous to YouTube, but there was kind of this.
Ooh. Okay. All right, we'll head a timeout. More calls on the way. Really, it's just us until pregame starts at 6. So plenty of time for you. If you got a thought, you want to get in on this conversation, we would love to have you. 803-0550 is the number. He's Nate Geary in for Mike today. I'm the Bulldog, and this is WGR.
Of a mile in the city to that way when I could go any other way downtown.
Even if the ticket was $6.
Right. And there would be more times where, okay, hey, we'll go to the Sabres game, or hey, someone's got free Sabres tickets. Okay. We could go to the casino. Perfect. And we'll hop in for a period and then go to the casino. And that's really what it became. And it is nice to go back to games. Does this sound weird? It sort of feels like everyone is the popular kid again. You go to the Sabres games and you're like, what's up, buddy? You're up to 200 level with your buddies. And you're like, hey, 8 people are all in a group text. Hey, we're going down to the Odd Club. Everyone meet there at the end of the intermission.
Right.
And it's like, man, I don't remember a time where being at a Sabres game, it was like a reunion of sorts because you haven't been there in so long to enjoy a game where it's, I wonder what the hot dog of the day is today. Will that convince me to pay the $6 on Ticketmaster?
Yeah.
Or people were showing up to the game. I mean, think about the last time we were, parking up in the thing, up in the ramp, and we're getting up there at 6:50. We're like, we're going to miss face-off. Like, damn it. And it's like, in years past, first of all, it would never happen because there would be no line to get into the ramp. But you were just thinking, we'll get there a couple minutes in. We'll miss the anthem. Big deal.
It's like the Sabres became, I don't mean this as in any way to be offensive to the Bisons, but it's like the Sabres became minor league baseball. Part of the fun of going to Bisons games is that there's not that like pressure to like it's not as expensive, which is what happens when the Sabres are bad and you buy tickets on the secondary market.
They were less expensive than Bison's games.
The results don't matter because the standings don't matter. And like I know that they keep standings in the International League, but like I'm not living and dying on whether the Bisons beat the Rail Riders. I'm just going to go to the game and I watch some baseball and I like the ballpark and that's it. And that is not what going to hockey games had been for a lot of us. You said you were how old? 14, 15?
I would have been 14 or 15 in the 06-07 run.
Okay.
I was a freshman in college.
Right. So I'm just thinking
when they last made it.
Right. So like you've had like that's a significant part. Like you were playing quarterback at Buff State. Like you had and like your life has completely changed since then. Which is, I mean, of course it would for most people,
Right.
but like it's a interesting
I was looking,
pocket of your life. There.
I was looking. It's like, the iPhone 5 was launched. 5. Osama bin Laden was killed. Like things that you don't remember because they were long enough ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember some of those things where I was in college and in my freshman dorms at Buff State, right? And it's like, I don't have a lot of those things. And 14, 15 is, I mean, we are talking peak of my Sabres and Bills fandom, even though the Bills had never been good during my childhood. It was, 14, 15 years old, 05, 06, or 04, 05, 06, and 06 and 07. I mean, that is, to me, my dad's getting sweet tickets from work and smuggling me into games. And I think I told you I was at the Rangers game where, Drury scores in regulation with 3 seconds left, and then Affinaganoff scores in overtime. I'm young enough to be so upset and brought to tears that they were about to lose that game that I was not watching the game when Drury scored. So I'm young enough to have been in tears for that.
Right.
So
right. Martin Straka made you cry.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, well, yeah. Not
Yes.
almost. It actually
he made me cry.
Turned
Yeah.
out the reason for the cry.
I was in the back of the suite.
preemptive.
Back of the suite wasn't even in eyesight of the rink.
Your dad's with his coworkers, just sort of
Right.
let Nate have a moment.
Yeah, let him go over there. Let him go over there.
He'll be fine.
Yep.
We're just reminiscing about just things that are coming to mind that happened during this seemingly interminable 14-season playoff drought that is coming to an end one of these days very soon, hopefully tonight. Let's see if we can let's get Mario in here quick before we hit the top of the hour. Mario, hi. Thanks for calling. You're on WGR.
Hey, Bulldog. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Yeah, I would kind of share that sentiment about, I don't want to know if you call it gatekeeping, but I had to unplug like a few years ago from the Sabres because it was just tough to watch. I've never gotten to that level with the Bills for some reason. Maybe I'm sick in the head, but even through like the Jeff Toole days, I always would never miss a game. Yeah, there's a name for you. Yeah. But it's been so awesome. My son was born in November, and it's become like our nighttime routine to watch the games. And to have like 3, maybe sometimes 4 games a week, it's just been such an amazing experience to watch meaningful hockey again. And my wife and I have traveled a few times over the last couple of years, and they've been fun to watch, and they were just on the cusp. And I got really back into it again, and it just makes me think of, and maybe you experienced this with the Red Sox, but there was times over the last 14 years where my Yankee fanhood would creep in, and I'm like, oh, man, I'm struggling. Am I a Yankees fan more than the Sabres now? And I remember telling my buddies, like, I'd rather see the Sabres in the playoffs, even if they lose first round, than have the Yankees win another World Series again. And they thought I was crazy, but it just meant that much more to me. So I'm so excited. I can't wait. I hope they clinch today, but if not, I'm so excited for the playoffs. And
awesome job, Mario. Appreciate you sharing all that with us. And I totally feel you. I think everyone out there listening mostly feels a lot of that as well. Thanks again for the call. 803-0550 is the number. We're heading for the top of the hour. It means we've got an hour to get as many of these calls in. You just heard that dude there. You want to share something similar about yourself, your family, whatever it is, get on it. Nate's in for Mike. I'm the Bulldog. This is WGR.
Sabres game night, and it is a big one. They are on the road versus Ottawa, and tonight the Sabres can clinch a playoff spot for the first time in 14 seasons. It is very simple. They win, they are in. And the Sabres, though, do have another scenario. If they get at least 1 point tonight, they'll need the Flyers and Carolina to both win, but ultimately the easiest one is win and you're in. Pregame in about an hour at 6 p.m. for a 7 p.m. puck drop. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen will get the start tonight, his third in a row, while in net for Ottawa, it'll be Linus Ullmark. Noah Austin and Sam Carrick are both out tonight. Lindy Ruff, though, did give a bit of an update on Carrick, calling him week to week and would not rule him out for the season. And the Sabres Injury Report, it is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. There are 13 other games tonight in the NHL, some notable ones when it comes to the Eastern Conference playoff race. The two big ones are also at 7, Carolina hosting Columbus and Detroit at the Flyers. And then also at 7 o'clock, the Lightning host Pittsburgh, the Bruins are in Florida versus the Panthers, and Montreal is in New York versus the Rangers. To the Diamond, the Mets are on late tonight, 9:45. They're at the San Francisco Giants. And in the minors, Bison's at Omaha just after 7:30. And then Rochester's home against Scranton in just about an hour at 6. And heads up, football fans, as Pittsburgh prepares to welcome the nation to the unofficial beginning of the football season, the celebration will begin the night before with an unforgettable invite-only night of music taking place Wednesday, April 22nd at the Rivers Casino event featuring Jason Aldean, John Morgan, and Shane Profit. Visit Odyssey.com/the-night-before to enter now for your chance to win this national contest, and prizes do include round-trip airfare, a 2-night hotel stay, and 2 tickets to the show. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for West New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Here's what's going to happen. I am going to have to fix you, manage you to on a more personal scale, a more micro form of management. What is that called?
Microaging.
Boom. Yes.
It's Mike Schopp
What is your name, sir? I am Bill Buttlicker.
and the Bulldog.
Really, that's your real name? How dare you? My family built this country, by the way.
It's Mike Schopp
The 3 words I would describe you as is aggressive, hostile, and definitely difficult.
and the Bulldog.
Well, I like the sound of your voice.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
So just real quick, we got a full bank of callers to get to here on the Mighty 550. And we'll do that coming up here in just a sec. Just real quick, just think one conversation we were having during a break here about the summer of 2011. So this is the free agency period following the Sabres' last playoff appearance, right? They lose to the Flyers. Easter Sunday, by the way, in Game 6 at home with a chance to close it out, Ville Laino beats them in overtime.
Yeah.
Right? On Easter Sunday of 2011, they go to Game 7 and just lay a monster egg against the Flyers. They're never in the game. It's just awful, awful. All right. Summer of 2011, it's big game hunt. Brad Richards is the biggest free agent out there, #1 center. We're going to go get Brad Richards, Cup winner with Tampa. We're going to go get Brad Richards. I'm in here with Mike talking about Pagula copters, right? He's going to fly across Lake Ontario to go meet with Brad Richards' agents, north of Toronto or wherever, like, Pagula copter, Brad Richards. At some point during that day, July 1st of 2011, one of the daughters, one of the Pagula girls, I don't remember which one it was, tweets out, I'm sure, meaning
Kelly.
Meaning to text, I'm sure, one of her parents or whoever, I don't know, but like, so no Richards then? And like that, like the middle of the day, right? Like free agency begins at noon. Like, oh man, I hear they're in it. It sounds like they're in it. Fire up the Pagula copter. So no Richards then. I wonder what that means. That probably isn't good, right? Of course, they don't get Brad Richards. They pivot to Ville Laino, who just beat them in the playoffs. Okay, he's going to be our upgraded center. Darcy Regeer's talking about he's going to play center for us. Ville Laino gets to town. I'm not really a center.
It was amazing. It was,
just, we didn't know it was going to be a drought. at that point. Like we're okay. Well, they got Leno and they got Christian Ehrhoff, and this is awesome. I remember
Ehrhoff was nice.
The lowest of the low were playing at Canalside that night, like the night of July. Like I remember going down there just smiling. I'm so happy. This is awesome.
Matt, can we just for a second? What a bullet dodged on the Brad Richards thing.
Yeah, sure.
He played, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons after that contract and scored 25 goals that next season and then 11 the next year. He
fell off a cliff, yeah.
Fell off of a cliff.
That is, though, a lot more than Ville Leno ever did, I think, probably. Well,
Ville Leno's always going to have that clothing brand.
And it was, obviously it was
talked about literally.
Cheaper.
He's like,
yeah.
I was really thinking about the end while I was in Buffalo. Like these dark times for him and everyone else.
Yeah. All right. Just a quick aside, 803-0550. Let's fire up the phones here. Frank is first up this segment. Hi, Frank. Thank you for calling. You're on the air here on WGR.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I'm actually on my way to the game, and I kind of wanted your guys' advice, too.
You're on your way to the game. Like, you're driving to Ottawa?
Yeah, well, I'm in the passenger side, but yes, I'm on my way to Ottawa. We're in the highway. I got 2 jerseys by my side, and I wanted you guys to choose for me.
Okay.
I have a Dylan Cousins Heritage Classic or a black and white Miro Shatan.
Well, I think
it's kind of going with Shatan.
I think you got to easily go with Shatan because Cousins plays now for the team they're playing tonight, and I don't think you want to rock that.
Yeah, I just like.
It's a sweet sweater, though. That Heritage sweater, that's from the game in Hamilton. That's a very sweet sweater.
Yeah, I'll tell you just a quick story, and I'll let you guys go. So last time I was there at the Sabres game, I walked up and Spartacat saw me. I was wearing my Eichel 15. And then he comes over and he goes to shake my hand, and I reach down to shake his hand, and he knocks my hat off, and he pretends to eat me. And I was all on the scoreboard and everything, and that was awesome. But I figured if he at least saw Cousins on the back, he'd cut me some slack. All right, have a great day, guys.
All right.
You.
Very good. Oh, I see. Spartacat.
Yes.
I'm thinking, doesn't he mean Sabretooth? No.
Right.
No, he means there.
Yes.
So Spartacat is the Ottawa mascot?
I guess so. We both looked at each other like, did he mean Sabretooth?
Yeah, that's right. All right. No, I got it.
All
right.
My last self-purchased Sabres jersey. Actually, it might have been my dad that bought this, so hopefully he's not listening to this. It's a white Tyler Myers jersey, slug. One of the worst jerseys to have ever owned. In adulthood, during the drought, I went to Toronto to go see a game. This was the week, if you remember this story, about the hot dog cart outside of the arena and how, why can't I remember his name? He would go out to the hot dog cart every day before games and get a hot dog. Do you know what I'm talking about? Played Team USA. Come on, help me out. Why I can't remember. Played for Toronto.
Phil Kessel?
Phil Kessel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You remember the Phil Kessel hot dog store? Yes.
I was thinking of
I'm
a
sorry.
Sabre. The only name you mentioned hot dogs and hockey player. Phil Kessel absolutely is the first name that comes to mind. But I didn't want to guess Phil Kessel because I was thinking this guy played for the Sabres.
It's that night.
Okay.
We're at the game, and the Sabres. I mean, they got smoked in Toronto.
Oh, 7.
Yeah.
No,
wrong year. Yes. So I'm there. And we're leaving the game. It's like the end of the second period. It was like, we're leaving. Let's go to dinner. Let's go get drinks. I might have been like 19. And I'm like, we're in Canada. Let's go drink legally.
Mm-hmm.
So I take the jersey off. And I'm like, what am I going to do with this? And there was a garbage right in front of the I had spilled something on it too. And as you know, that white jersey, it's over for the jersey.
Yep.
So I threw it out in front of the Toronto arena. And it might have even been to some cheers from some Toronto fans. Yeah, throw them out.
Yeah.
You know, they suck.
Bold.
Yeah. And that was the last jersey I've had. Although.
But you bought it. It was not a gift. You bought it.
My dad might have bought that from me.
He knows you threw it out, though. So
he never saw it again.
Okay.
Yeah, he never saw it again.
Yeah.
I don't know that I ever told him that I threw it out, but.
That jersey design was just very, very tough. Brian is next up. Hi, Brian. Thank you for calling. You are on the air here on WGR.
Hey, Chris. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, so
little apology to you. When I dropped my youngest off at St. Mark's, I let my teenage daughter then get behind the wheel. She's got her permit, and I've taught her well how to do the Let's Go Buffalo beat by her house every morning. So sorry about that.
Yeah, no apology necessary. It's nice to know that I'm assuming you're harmless, that you know where I live. So that's good. Thank you. No, I've noticed it. Thank you. I take it as a compliment.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm 47. I'm completely harmless. I have 3 daughters. So, yeah, completely harmless. Almost with one of my kids. Anyways, roll the clock back to 2004. I just got out of grad school, moved back to Buffalo. The stupid lockout happened. 2005 happened. I fell in the season tickets. Fast forward to Eichel's rookie year. I can tell you the exact moment when I canceled my tickets. The Minnesota game in Buffalo, Evander King gets two-handed cross-checked with 5 minutes to go in the third period in front of the ref, no period. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. This league's garbage. It's trash. They don't enforce the penalties. This team's paying to lose. And as I said yesterday, I went into hibernation. I'm back, baby. I bought my tickets today. I feel like Randy Quaid in Independence Day. Remember me? I'm back. So 319, we're just a little over the red line, right underneath the press box. So I'll have to watch my mouth so my friends from work in the court system don't hear me,
Nice.
swearing in Spanish. So that's pretty cool. And then I actually called you guys yesterday about being down in that Jersey game while we were visiting the city. And my daughter's like, what is it like with playoff hockey and all these banners in here? I'm like, yeah, there's nothing better. You get home from school or from practice. It's still warm out. It's light outside. It's kind of light outside when the games end. And just imagine a Bills game, but for a playoff series. And she was a year and a half old for games the last time they made it. So she's got no memory. And by the way, you guys are wrong on that game 6. The Sabres were winning with about 8 minutes to go. And then Tim Connolly got cheap shotted and broke his breastbone there. I can't think of the damn sternum.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous. And watching Billy Lano score on Easter Sunday right in front of me in 3:13, I just wanted to puke up every jelly bean I eat. That scumbag. All right, I'll hang up.
All right, Brian, thanks. I don't know exactly what we got wrong there. I mean, all I said was that they lost on an overtime goal by Billy Lano, which factually happened. We didn't talk about how the game went, but I do remember Connolly getting hurt. That was a big part of it. All right. The horn honking is something I've never really had to talk about on the air, but
it had been brought to you.
It has been brought to me. Mike is next up. Hi, Mike. Thanks for calling. You're on WGR.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for taking the call.
Sure.
I just called to say last time they were in the playoffs, I was a senior in high school. I feel like I lived 4 different lives since then. I have a 4-year-old daughter. And sharing this with my family has been amazing. I remember driving down, I don't remember what game it was, but when the Robert Thomas news broke that day, that's the day I felt like it was official. Like it's real. Like we're here. This is done being fake and hoping. And it was just a great day. And ever since then, it's just been, it's like cloud 9 going to these games.
That's awesome, Mike. I appreciate that. And I appreciate, that will and I don't take any of this all that seriously. I mean, I try to do a good job. I will always have it was Robert Thomas Day. Mike was off, and there was this rumor about Robert Thomas, and I think did the 4-hour show almost entirely about Robert Thomas, a player who probably before I started talking about him at 3:02 that day, a lot of Sabres fans had no idea. Did he play for the Blues? Is he good?
Yeah.
How come we didn't trade for him when we traded O'Reilly? We maybe kind of wanted to, but we couldn't.
Yeah. They wouldn't trade him.
We'll always have that Robert Thomas Day.
Truly.
Maybe we'll have a Robert Thomas Day in the summer.
Maybe.
I mean, it could happen.
It probably should.
I think it will.
It might.
Let's speak it into existence.
All right.
Which is what I was trying to do on Robert Thomas Day originally. As a matter of fact, Josh is next up here on WGR. Hi, Josh. Thanks for calling. You're on the air.
Hey, what's going on? So I have a drought moment that I guarantee not many people remember, but I remember it because I'm still floored by it 10 years later.
Okay.
So it's 2016. We're pretty deep into the drought by then. Eichel's on the team. And the Sabres are playing in Calgary in October of 2016. The Flames score a goal on Robin Lehner that was immediately waved off because the ref blew the whistle. The whistle blew clear as day, and the puck goes into the net like 2 seconds later. The refs huddled up, and then they overturned the goal into a good goal because the ref didn't mean to blow the whistle, which is not against the rules. That's never happened. If the whistle blows, the play is dead. And they awarded the goal to Calgary.
You're right. I don't remember this. I don't want to speak for everyone to say like no one else remembers this, but I don't remember this. And I probably was watching because I was
2016.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, 2016.
Yep, I remember.
I was gonna say we weren't hurt enough at that point for long enough to not care about them.
Still, it was early in the Eichel.
The thing is though, we had optimism, and it was very early in the season.
Sure.
Especially with Eichel and Reinhart, and then that happened. It's like, when has that ever happened before? If the whistle blows and the puck goes in the net, it doesn't matter. The whistle blew.
Well,
and then they overturned the goal.
That's the NHL. I mean, anything can happen, and it probably will. That's kind of how it goes.
Murphy's Law.
I thought Tuesday night was setting up for like Wednesday to be ref day because the hit from behind on Norris, the other hit on Norris that he got 4 minutes and the other guy got only 2. And I felt like that. And then somebody late, while the Sabres were protecting their 1-goal lead, got tripped in the offensive zone. No call. I'm like, oh, boy, talk about a throwback. It's going to be complain about the refs day.
Sure.
I hope we don't end up there, but chances are we will. We're going to the playoffs. Calls will be made.
Yeah.
They will be bad. Yeah. How it goes.
Almost it is a guarantee.
I am batting like below 200 this year on goalie interference in all games, not just Sabres games. And like, oh, well, his foot's in the crease. He made contact with the goalie. That has to be goalie interference. Nope. Like, okay, I thought turns out
unidentifiable.
No one knows the rules.
No one knows. It's like a catch. What's a catch?
It's exactly like that. Chris is next up. Hi, Chris. Thanks for calling. You're on the air here on WGR.
Thanks for taking my call, guys. So I live in St. Catharines now, but I didn't grow up in St. Catharines. Grew up about an hour west of St. Catharines, here in Ontario. So I grew up in a Leafs household. So being a Sabres fan in the 90s was easy because we were so good then, but being in a Leafs household, it was tough. But it's been 14 years, and I think back to those 05, 06, 06, 07 teams when I thought they were going to win the cup, and watching some videos today from a couple of those games when Drury tied it with 7 seconds left, and again have scores in overtime. Despite all the craziness that's happened over those 14 years, whether it was alumni jersey names being spelled wrong or the Eichel debacle, and it just kind of maybe seems all worth it tonight if they win. And I know they're going to make the playoffs, but if they can do it tonight, it just seems kind of worth it all. I think they can make a deep run, and I'm just excited. I'm going to be there tonight. I'm going to drive over the border and be at Southern Tier to watch the game. Just excited to go.
Awesome. All right, Chris, appreciate the call very much. Yeah, you know what? They do have, I opened today, like tonight's a perfect night to go out to watch the game because whatever disappointment you'll feel, and there will be some, if they don't clinch a playoff spot tonight, they've got plenty of runway here. Like they're gonna, the drought's ending, right? It's just a question of whether it actually ends tonight. There is the matter of the standings to care about if you care about where you end up for the playoffs, and they are still in first place, protecting a 2-point lead. Tampa still has a game in hand. Montreal, if you care, is on a heater again. They've won 6 in a row, and they're only 4 points back.
Would rather them play Tampa.
Yeah.
I don't want to play Montreal in the first round.
Sure. So if you care about first place, then every game still matters, even after they clinch. You're tied with Carolina right now. Same deal. They have one fewer game played than you do, so they have a game in hand on you.
Winning the Eastern Conference this year would be
incredibly badass.
Totally.
It's just
I mean, it's as good as the Eastern Conference has ever been.
Right. That's right.
Just as deep and as strong. And like you're looking at the West and you're like, everyone is still kind of in it.
Yeah.
Like they're talking about Winnipeg. They're like 2 points out of a wild card spot of the West. It's like, yeah, the Eastern Conference this year, for them to have won it, when I think the last couple of years, part of the, I don't know, dismay or part of the feeling so like they are so far away wasn't always about how bad they've been, but how good the conference and specifically the division have been.
Right.
Where you hear, Toronto this week talking about, well, we didn't really see the Canadians and the Sabres coming. They're freight trains, whatever he said, right? It's like that was part of, I think, every year going in like,
right, who are you displacing?
Right.
No
one.
Right.
No one.
And this year it just happens Florida finally ran out of gas and
Toronto's
imploded.
Done. Yeah.
And but it's not like that's the only reason you're there. I mean, you've run away. I mean, 100 points is, to be first in the conference. We talked about it yesterday, Zach? Do you remember Mike said, I think if the league went 1 through 16 this year, there would only be 4 Western Conference teams in.
That's remarkable.
That's how bad. And it's largely the Pacific. The Pacific is just a sinkhole.
It's a disaster.
So, that's where that's at. All right, good deal. Ben is up next. Hi, Ben. Thank you for calling. Sorry for the sound effects. You're on the air here on WGR.
Thanks for taking my call, guys.
Yep.
So the last Sabres playoff game, I was sitting in a bar in Aruba. I had shortly prior turned 21, and we were watching the game on a thready feed on a computer through, let's just say, an internet website where you had to scour the depths of the interwebs at that point in order to get sports games as opposed to everything being at the tips of your fingers the way they are now. I don't really remember much after Ville Leno scored that goal in overtime, needless to say, being in a bar in a foreign country after my 21st birthday and thinking all of the things that would happen between the time that Leno scored that goal to being on the cusp of going to the playoffs again. I took my 4-year-old daughter to her first Sabres game on Friday. Granted, the outcome against the Red Wings was suboptimal, but at that point in time, thinking the next time I'd be seeing the Sabres on the cusp of making the playoffs, I would have had 2 kids, finished not only 1 college degree, but 3, and having bought my first house after what an immature state I was back when Ville Leno scored that goal, it's almost unfathomable the things that have happened over the last decade and a half since Pegula said, now that I have the team, the sole existence for the Sabres from this point forward will be to win a Stanley Cup. I've brought that up jokingly to my friends following every Sabres elimination since that time about what a dead end this franchise has been, despite everybody pouring their heart and soul into this. And it almost brings me to tears thinking about how much my life has changed since the last time the Sabres had a playoff game. I'll hang up now and listen, guys.
Yeah, man. Definitely. I feel every word of that, Ben. I mean, every word of that. I had occasion. I was asked, I don't want to say too much about why, find some pictures. You have any Sabres-related pictures through the years? And so I went through, and there's a picture. Mike and I took our sons to a Sabres Lightning game in 2011, their last playoff year. And the picture is Mike's son, Julius, sitting on Owen's lap. They're both, like, Owen's 9, and Julius is probably, like, I don't even know, 4 or 5, whatever. He's a little kid. And I was asked, like, eventually, like, what is it? I just sent it to, what does this picture make you think of? I'm like, that little boy has got a mustache and works at the radio station now. I mean, I don't even know. Yeah. Like, wow. Like, what does it make you think? Like, it's been a long time is what it makes me think.
14 years in that perspective is, when you say it out loud, it doesn't have as much meaning as when you think about all of the things that have happened to you in 14 years. But yeah, again, I think the thing that has always sort of gotten me about how just miserable this is seeing them next to the Jets and knowing what we all think about the New York Jets.
All right, clown show.
I mean,
yeah.
And that is largely every graphic, longest playoff drought in North American sports, and they are right there with the New York Jets. Has just been, to me, the hardest thing to look at because I just know what a punchline for everything they are. Not just the NFL, but just in sports.
Yep.
And, good on you for having Connor Rogers on today. That was a nice little back door.
That's our dude Zach, man. That's he's heady. He knows what's what.
Truly.
Yeah.
Truly heady.
The Jet thing was just a coincidence. We just like Connor.
Yeah, a huge coincidence.
He answers our calls, and so that's just
that helps.
That's how it goes. All right. 803-0550 is the number. You get the vibe, right? Like this, we're all kind of feeling it here. Sabres have a chance to end a 14-season playoff drought tonight with a win against the Ottawa Senators. Pregame is coming your way in about a half an hour with myself and Paul Hamilton. But still a half an hour for your call, so fire them up. 803-0550 is the number. Nate Geary is in for Mike. I am the Bulldog, and this is WGR.
Sabres pregame coming up in about 30 minutes, and it's a big one tonight on the road versus Ottawa as the Sabres can clinch a playoff spot for the first time in 14 seasons, and it is very simple for them. Win and in. Sabres do have another scenario that could get them in. If they get at least 1 point tonight, they'll need the Flyers and Carolina to both win, but the easiest one, win and in. Pre-game again at 6 p.m. It's a 7 p.m. puck drop, and then some lineup notes for tonight. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen will get the start tonight, his third in a row, and then in net for Ottawa, it'll be Linus Ullmark. Noah Austin and Sam Carrick both out tonight, and Lindy Ruff did give a bit of an update on Carrick, calling him week to week, and would not rule him out for the season. And the Sabres Injury Report is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. There are 13 other games tonight in the NHL, some notable ones to keep an eye on with the Eastern Conference playoff race. The big ones are also at 7, Carolina hosting Columbus and Detroit at the Flyers. And then also at 7 o'clock, the Lightning host Pittsburgh, the Bruins are in Florida versus the Panthers, and Montreal is in New York versus the Rangers. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Didn't see the train coming, which was the Buffalo Sabres and the Montreal Canadiens, and how strong those two teams are, along with the likes of Detroit and Ottawa. Boston, with a strong spine, have been able to retool, and Florida and Tampa are always strong. But Buffalo and Montreal have shown that young, energetic team, they're going to be here for a long time.
That is the top of the food chain with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Keith Pelly talking about what went wrong, some of the factors that led to the Maple Leafs having the lousy season they've had, second to last in the Atlantic Division with 77 points, and mentioning the Sabres and complimenting both they and Montreal. I can, not to really, why does someone always say not to nitpick and then nitpick? How about this? Yeah. I'm going to nitpick this.
Like the no offense, and then tell us.
I mean to offend. I'm going to nitpick this. I totally understand you not seeing the Sabres coming.
Sure.
Montreal was very promising last year, and there's no way you should have ignored them this offseason or had them be an afterthought. You could see them come. That train was blazing.
It was on the tracks.
Yeah.
It was on the tracks.
803-0550 is the number. Nate Geary and for Mike Schopp, along with me. I am the Bulldog. Let's go to Jeff first up this segment. Hi, Jeff. Thank you for calling. You're on the air here on WGR.
Hey, guys. Thanks. So obviously super excited. I'll make it quick here. So I'm 34. Within the last maybe 2-3 years, I lost both my grandparents, unfortunately. But the history behind, Sabres fan in my life here and kind of, what I've just been pretty much grew up on is my father grew up in the Black Rock area. And he told me stories about they had this tradition going where he'd take a shot for every goal the Sabres scored. And they would have, I look back at photo albums, they would have these parties and every game, all the neighborhood kids would get together. And of course they mentioned a few of the games where the Sabres had scored double digits and kind of got out of hand a little bit.
Got a little hairy there probably. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But it's the history that, I'm 34 now, like I said, and just hearing those stories. And I remember, when I was a kid, every time the Sabres scored, I always would call my grandparents. He'd take a little shot of apple juice at the time when I was growing up, and it's just something that I'm so super excited to finally be back. And it's bittersweet, of course, with them not being here for that. Mm-hmm. But man, I'm pumped.
All right, Jeff. Thank you for sharing, and sorry about your grandparents. Greg is next up. Hi, Greg. Thanks for calling. You're on WGR.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my call. This is more of a playoff story than a drought story, but I'm really excited. When I was 9 or 10, I think it was 88 or 89, my dad came home and surprised my brother and I with some playoff tickets to go see the Sabres play the Bruins. Somebody hung a bed sheet where they spray painted Sabres' favorite entree, Bork chops, trying to needle Ray Bork there. I just got to share the story that I have never been in a building that was that loud as a 10-year-old in my life, and I'm just super excited for the kids of that city to walk in that building, see that team take the ice, and just listen to that place erupt. super jealous of those kids that get to experience it for the first time. That's all I got. I'm super excited. Let's go Sabres, and I'll hang up and listen.
All right, good deal, Greg. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, the building, I mean, different. I was thinking today about my dad and I going in 93 to the second round series against Montreal. So after May Day, after they sweep the Bruins, we were at one of they got swept in turn by Montreal. And the game we went to, I think all those games, all 4 games overtime, or 3 of the 4. Anyway, the game we went to was overtime. And I remember they gave out these foam swords. My dad still has them in his redone basement with the bumper pool table and the paneling, right? I mean, my dad's 93. But the swords are still there. And I was thinking today about how hoarse I was after that game from just yelling. Yeah. Oh, just for long periods of time, and just how just the voice was completely shot afterward. It's nothing like it, man. The playoff level intensity, there's so much anxiety that comes with it that you don't know what else to do but just yell.
I'll tell you, I said this earlier too, like when my buddy planning to come up for game 1 of, assuming they will have game 1 at home, which, I think I feel good about. Mm-hmm. Party in the plaza, me being just like kind of too young to go by myself. Like the parents weren't signing up for dropping me off as the downtown suburban Hamburg kid getting dropped off downtown. The idea of that was not sellable to my parents. That's probably what I look forward to the most. And I don't know, they haven't announced that they're doing it, but like they're going to do that, right? I mean, they're going to do Party in the Plaza.
I don't want to speak for them, but it would blow my mind if they didn't do something.
And because I've been telling you, I've been living downtown for 5 years. I really want a reason to walk a mile, or like it's even less than a mile. But I want to walk down there and then walk back. The convenience, I've only really been able to do it for like a concert, and that's it. It was like 1 or 2 concerts that I've done it, and I just want to have the convenience of on a nice May day to just walk down, go to Ballyhoo, have a couple of cocktails, go to the game, and then go back to Ballyhoo and try to bum a cigarette off of somebody after a Sabres game, and just like, hey, guys, that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder what they'll do. Like I mentioned, the summer of 11, right after the last playoff series, the lowest of the low played at Canal Side. Like Canal Side existed.
Yes.
But barely. Like it was just the very beginning of it. So I wonder if that doesn't become a venue for the Sabre street scene.
Instead of right out front, you'd have way more room.
Instead of in the plaza,
you have way more room
over there. I mean, just a thought. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they're considering all ideas. But they have to. That's such a part of it. So there's got to be some outdoor element you can take part in.
How about this? I was at the Seattle game last weekend, Saturday, and it was my final test. I think I had been to 4 straight losses in a season that there hadn't been a lot of them.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was like, I might be bad luck. And not just losses, but just miserable games. And so they finally won, and I kind of felt like, okay, I can go to a playoff game. I'm gonna go to a playoff game.
Yeah.
But I think the first playoff game, I don't think I want to be in the. I mean. I shouldn't say I want to be in the arena, because I wonder what that arena is going to be like. And it's too bad there's not like a Versus channel or like, a good national broadcast of these games anymore. Like, TNT, whatever. Like, I imagine that Sabres and blank is game 1 going to be like, it would feel dumb for them to not have a stage outside for the national broadcast. I just feel like everyone's sort of building towards how unbelievable downtown Buffalo is going to be. Like, what is that? That arena holds 17,800 or something like that. Yeah. There's going to be 40,000 people downtown.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And
I kind of want to just be out with the normies.
Yeah.
For game 1, and like that's what I'm really looking forward to.
All right. Brian is next up. Hi, Brian. Thank you for calling. You're on WGR.
Yeah, hey guys. So, like one of the past callers there, the drought's gone so long. I got to talk about memories of loved ones. But during the COVID era, my father, unfortunately passed, not from COVID itself, but from something else. And because of the restrictions, he chose to do so at home. And if you've ever had that happen before, part of what they do is they give you the good stuff to ease your transition. And so, in his last days, he was getting less and less lucid, and I would just spend time sitting next to him, just talking and about the news and anything else going on. But my memory is that one day I was telling him about the Sabres missing the bubble playoff by one game.
Yeah.
And there's this pause, and just for a few seconds, he came back and he just said, "Of course those effing bums blew it." and then that was my wonderful, kind of last conversation with him about the Sabres.
Brilliant, Brian. Really, really, really well done. Really well done. I did not see the twist coming there.
Yeah, neither did I.
And for some reason, that is making me more emotional than if it had stayed in the lane that he started out in, because that's a great finish. All right.
It was.
803-0550 is the number. Nate's in for Mike. I am the Bulldog. This is WGR. Hit. Those are the numbers. Dwayne is going to lead us off this segment. Hi, Dwayne. Thanks.
Hey, thanks, Bulldog. Thanks, guys. If you just give me a minute here, just to, I'll try and organize my thoughts as best I can. I'm just, I've the 24 years they've been in that arena. I think in some form of capacity, I've been a season ticket holder for about 15 of those years. I started, my first hockey card was Brad May. My first jersey was Pat LaFontaine. I idolized Dominic Hasek. I played goalie because of Dominic Hasek. I work for Hasek's Foundation now as a coach, and my life in hockey has been started because of Sabres hockey. You know, I went to the finals games as a kid with my dad. I watched Jeff Sanderson score with one arm around Ed Belfour. You know, I have so many great moments to talk about with this hockey team. And, like, I'm surprised the organization remembered to wish Dominic Hasek a happy birthday today. I'll put it that way. It's so mind-boggling how we've fallen this far. And, like, I was cautiously optimistic coming into the season because I wasn't fully expecting playoffs, but I was happy with the way the season started because the competitiveness was there. Last year was misery 100% after the 10-game streak. It was absolute misery because the passion was not there. And it's been there. And then they go out and lay an egg last night in front of me. I was at the game. First time I went to a game with my sister, by the way, and she had to sit there through that. And it's mind-blowing. Like, I don't need a Jerry Jones type of owner. Like, I need an owner who's going to answer to the fans when they misspell names on jerseys and have Chinese knockoffs on alumni. Like, what is going on? Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't understand it, man. Like, Bulldog, you've lived through this. You've seen it. Like, have you ever been, like, have they ever sucked the passion out of you like they have me? I've dedicated my life to hockey because of this team. Like, I can't do it anymore, man. Like I'm seriously for the first time considering just not being a season ticket holder this year. Even when the team was terrible, Ted Black would come on the station and talk to fans and address concerns. I don't need I don't need a damn camera in front of Terry Pegula every single day, but address our concerns. Be there when you screw up. Answer for the mistakes. Be accountable. You know, Pal LaFontaine being forced out of the organization, 5 years ago, however long it was. Like, I don't need an explanation, but it's just been mediocrity. It's almost worse than the Bills drought. And you know what? As I don't know what people's opinions of the man were, with Russ Brandon, but if Russ Brandon was running the team still, I highly doubt he would have allowed Chinese knockoff jerseys to be worn by Danny Garrett at Turkey Drive. I would have died on the ice, the Goathead, missing deadlines. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is it? Like, I didn't need playoffs this year. I wanted it, but I didn't need it. But when you screw up for the fans as much as this team has over the last, 5 years, and just don't hold yourself accountable, go hide at your house in Florida. Like, what is this? Get in front of the camera and at least make us feel that we matter. That we matter to you. Like, I'm sick of it, Bulldog. I'm sick of it. I'm sorry. I'll hang up and listen. I'm sorry.
Appreciate y'all hanging out with us here on a Thursday. Nate Geary in for Mike Schopp. I am the Bulldog. Sabres pregame with Paul Hamilton live in Ottawa coming your way in just about 10, 12 minutes or so. Squeeze in as many calls as we can here before we hit the top of the hour. Kyle is first up this segment. Hi, Kyle. Thank you for calling. You are on WGR.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
So mine's a little bit of a story, but I was thinking about this. It's more of a story, lack thereof. For perspective, I'm 22 years old, graduating college in about a month. So the last time the Sabres were in the playoffs, I was 8 years old, and I can confidently say I don't have one single memory of the Sabres in a playoff game. And then to add on to that, I've been thinking about this night for the last couple of weeks, and I think if we win tonight, it's going to be emotional just because, it's a long time coming to not have a memory of it. And I had the same feeling, whatever it was, 8 years ago with the Bills. But I'll hang up and go Sabres, go Bills.
All right, Kyle, appreciate that very much. Yeah, I mean, the years, man, they just go. And 14 years is just such a long time. I mean, Nate, for you, like you're talking about this pocket of your life where you're, in college or going to, it's just such a foreign. It's just bizarre to have that much time go by in your life. So much happens.
So much. Yeah. And especially, again, that just I think anyone that is like the millennial, somebody else calling Saber 34, like that is, we are the tortured few generation of Buffalo sports fans. I mean, there is just a lot of, we were too young for the Super Bowls, just old enough for the drought to start, and they still haven't won a Super Bowl with Josh Allen. I mean, that's been a nice counteract, but you know, and then the Sabres for most of our fun, we're going to enjoy these years. We're going to think back about these years have been filled with Vladimir Sobotka and sorry for
Sobotka.
Zenon Konopka.
You know, rabbit. Your pet rabbit. Remember that?
Yeah.
Konopka had a pet rabbit.
I unfortunately remember that.
Yeah. I don't want to remember that.
I wish that I didn't.
Yeah, I'm sorry I brought it up. Tom is next up. Hi, Tom. Thanks for calling. You're on WGR.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure thing.
I think, like a lot of people, it's fun to hear how, there's a lot of people who have never seen or don't remember a playoff game. There's about 20 or 30 people in my wife's family who have never seen me or known me during Sabres playoffs. They've gotten to know that I need my own space during Bills playoffs. But I think there's a difference when, I'm able to channel a Bills playoff game into one day, but multiple days a week. I don't know, man. Like people, so I am very excited. First thing I want to do, if we're lucky enough to see it happen tonight, I'm going to call my dad. Remember going to the Game 5 Rangers playoff win, and then the Carolina, I think it was Game 6 playoff win. So it just means a lot to my brother, my dad, and I. And then I'm going to just call in and just see how my father-in-law, who's a Rangers fan, is doing, and just see how things are going. Just he likes to do that with me.
Yeah. Talk to him about Chris Drury. See how he's enjoying Chris Drury as the GM. Yeah, just check in. Yeah, I know. I'm just curious. Yeah. I like it, Tom. Good deal, man. Appreciate the call. Enjoy those phone calls. Hopefully, you get to make them all. You get to make them all tonight because they clinch tonight. So, let's go. Let's go. LFG.
I do wonder what it's going to be like for other people in our lives to know what Sabres playoff hockey. It's been the last time I remember playoff hockey is I was listening to the radio for the RJ Umberger hit. I was in the basement listening to the radio.
All right. That's a while ago. All right. Thanks for this. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, man.
Nate's going to split. I've got pregame coming up after this.
Since so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about